All right, all right. Another Saturday night. Another Saturday night shoot the breeze. I want to thank everyone who is here already waiting. I want to thank everyone who will be here tonight or who will be listening to the playback of this episode. Let me just, it seems like I should be heard. You guys drop a 1 if you can hear my voice. Just do me that favor and drop a 1. So you guys know by now, regular listeners know, the show has been cut to 3 hours. So it's basically an 8 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time show for now. If we get the viewership up, if we get the numbers up, I'll go up an hour, right? I'll go to 12 midnight. With that said, though, you know the deal. I jump on early. I'll let you guys know what's in store for tonight. Last week we had a very good show, so we didn't get to all the topics. So I'm bringing some of those topics forward today. We're going to be talking about music and hidden history in songs and how important that would be. I just did an interview with MCE on Thursday. It was a live stream interview. A few of you were there. Trigger Happy 262, Oni was there. Buana came in at some point. Bakari was there, etc. And, you know, music is very important to me. I like when we can relay consciousness, when we can relay Black empowerment, you know, our own propaganda in music. I like to see it. So that was a good interview. You guys should check it out, by the way. We're also going to be talking tonight about perhaps canceling Alex Haley. We're going to look at a story. I imagine most of you have seen it by now. Some young Africans from America, females, went to Elmina Castle over in Africa and found themselves twerking on top of the dungeon / castle. We're going to talk about that. Is it culture or not? We're going to talk about something that Zuli brought up repeatedly last week, but we weren't really aware of what he was talking about. We'll talk about that 14-year-old who had to delete a guy, a black man, after this black man was punching on his mother. We're going to talk about that. There's been some updates and whatnot, so we'll talk about that tonight. We're going to talk about we're going to talk about this idea that kind of follows from that 14-year-old story too. This idea that you could put batteries in black folks' back for them to carry out these crash test missions. That's a very important thing to talk about too. So we have that. Another possible topic is there as well if time allows. What I'm going to do now is start the show officially. And on the other side of the intro, I will drop Shoot the Breeze topic number 1 tonight. So you guys do stay tuned.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio. Welcome to the Bitter Medicine Podcast, where it's all about Black empowerment. Our show focuses on Black news and entertainment, arts, science, economics, history, people, and strategies that uplift, empower, and motivate Africans within the diaspora. And now, your host, whose favorite color is black, Goku.
Welcome back to the Bitter Medicine Podcast. I am your host, Koku. Just want to remind you guys before we get the show rolling that this show is part of a podcast network called KWAZ Radio. There are other shows on the network you are invited to tune into.
This is D Webb with the Harsh Reality Podcast, asking you to tune in where we tackle the news of the day that affects our community, only on KWAZ Radio.
Peace, family. This is Oni, inviting you to listen to the Pro-Black Perspective, where black problems are addressed with black solutions.
Greetings, fam. Tune in to The Learning Curve with me, the revolutionary matron on KWAZ Radio.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back to the Bitter Medicine Podcast Saturday segment called Shoot the Breeze. Before I drop Shoot the Breeze topic number one, let me introduce my panelists tonight. Buana, how are you this week?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. How are you, brother?
I'm good. I'm hanging in there. Thanks
Good,
for coming.
man. Good. Yes.
Let's welcome Oni from the Pro-Black Perspective. How are you this week?
Wagwan, I'm good, man.
Good. All right. Thanks for coming through. Shout out to Trigger Happy 262 in the chat. Daily Affirmations by Pauline, Ketter, and anyone else who I might have missed. Shout out to all you guys in the chat. Let me drop Shoot the Breeze topic number one. I see you guys in the chat are already talking about that 14-year-old story, but that's not the first prompt tonight. We're going to save that for a little bit later. First prompt tonight, Shoot the Breeze topic number one is, how powerful would our future generations be if people from all over the world researched our hidden history and play those songs on the radio and in clubs? This came with a link. Let me share the link with you guys.
Women in graveyards gotta be losing. Seneca Village, a black town up in New York, where black people own all their property. They tore it down and put up Central Park. They was hating on us the whole time. What the fuck? Cowaliga, black town in Alabama destroyed. Now it's Lake Martin, Santa, another town under that lake. Those is black Wall Streets. We can never be great. Vanport, Oregon, another black town got flooded. Now that shit Delta Park. Where's our reparations? What the hell? These crimes need a punishment worse than jail. Warren in Baltimore, Maryland, a community that was black ran. And guess what them niggas put over it? I goddamn damn. I know it's a black town under the Hoover. I know it's a black town under Lake Mead. I know it's a black town under all these goddamn lakes. In the day, niggas stoking out breed. Got my ancestors under the sea. Got my ancestors spirit on trees. Where the fuck is my goddamn money? Y'all paying these taxes, but what about me? Bitch, come on part two, cause I cannot let up. Is it just too much fuckery? Getting this world back, that is.
Let's listen to that one more time.
Lake Lanier, that shit not a lake. Under it, it was a black community. Most of these lakes made the cover up amber. Y'all swimming in graveyards, gotta be losing. Seneca Village, a black town up in New York, where black people own all their property. They tore it down and put up Central Park. They was hating on us the whole time. What the fuck? Cowaliga, black town in Alabama destroyed. Now it's Lake Martin, Santa, another town under that lake. Those is black Wall Streets. We can never be great. Vanport, Oregon, another black town got flooded. Now that shit Delta Park. Where's our reparations? What the hell? These crimes need a punishment worse than jail. Warren in Baltimore, Maryland, a community that was black ran. And guess what them niggas put over it? I goddamn damn. I know it's a black town under the Hoover. I know it's a black town under Lake Mead. I know it's a black town under all these goddamn lakes. In the day, niggas stoking out breed. Got my ancestors under the sea. Got my ancestors spirit on trees. Where the fuck is my goddamn money? Y'all paying these taxes, but what about me? Bitch, come on part two, cause I cannot let up. Is it just too much fuckery? Getting this world back, that is.
All right. So you see the prompt. It says, how powerful would our future generations be if people from all over the world researched our hidden history and play those songs on the radio and in clubs? Let me start with Oni. Oni, what say you to what you heard just now and what the prompt is asking?
Shit, I feel like our people will be just as powerful as they are right now. Like, I don't know what you expect. No, for real. Like, so I put up this prompt. I just saw this video of Zora Neale Hurston. Zora Neale Hurston was kind of on that, why you got that Negro sobbing stuff. I'm not about the Negro sobbing stories. And the trouble is that this is unfortunately a Negro sobbing story on the one hand, and on the other hand, it's damn, like it's damn, like how you expect to win if according to your story, right, people can just put you under a lake. Like according to your story, you could have a whole town and then somebody could just make a lake out of your town. Like I don't even think I've ever heard of somebody making a lake out of somebody's town, So that said, it's like I don't like I'm not like I don't know what kind of like this is not really empowering. This is not empowering, and the message of where's my reparations for this? It's like you just taking L's. It sounds nice, it's a bop, but it just sounds like an L. And if your story is gonna be sobbing and you owe me money and here's look at this L you gave me, right? Like nobody's gonna respect you. And I want people to really grasp that. Because I can tell you this, I have this this brother who I used to consider whatever, right? Kind of a coon, whatever. And so he was like, he wants to date another woman, like a woman out of our race, because of what he experienced in terms of racism, right? So he's like, I don't want to bring a child into this world, right, that would also experience the kind of hatred that I experienced. You know what I mean? That's the mentality that some people have. Now, me, I might be like, hey, look, I experienced some bad stuff, so I want to just get out of the country. That's good, right? But this right here, I want to stay in and ask for money, right? That's going to push your race into the hands of another people, into the hands of people that could protect them. Because you're clearly saying, look, I can't protect myself. That's all I'm saying.
I appreciate that, Oni. Buana, what say you?
Yeah, I don't have too much to say on this particular topic. This term hidden history has become a very popular term in our vernacular now, in our parlance now, and it's unfortunate because we in the information age, we have access to so many different kinds of things, and if we wish to find out about these things, we only need to refer to our smartphones and look up the whatever subject you want to look up, and the idea of the world having to know what our history is, the world doesn't care about your history. The world doesn't care about it. The world cares about what you're doing currently, what you're doing right now to be effective. They don't give a shit about your hidden history, and I don't know if people can empower themselves off of that information, but the world doesn't care about that. The world doesn't care about that, brother. But for people who wish to find out these kinds of things, you have access to this information now. And I think that we are at a stage right now where we don't necessarily have to learn things to a beat, to a drum beat. If you want history, you need to quietly go somewhere and review something. That boring work, what nobody want to do. Everybody want to sit down and be entertained, even with information that they believe is critical to them. They want to be entertained, constantly entertained. And at some point, you got to cut off the music and you got to sit down and let your brain function as it's supposed to. Quietly, you learn many, many different things. You don't always have to learn through a beat. But this is where some of our brothers and sisters are, and I wish them well on that. I really do.
I appreciate that, Buana. Let me read some responses in the chat. Daily affirmation by Pauline. Shout out to her. She says, I believe the youth of the day have no clue how powerful our ancestors were, and I believe we need to reinforce this message, which Trigger Happy 262 agrees. Earlier, Trigger Happy 262 said, we have to be complete, though. I also think a lot of our people don't know the extent of the things they did to us. If they did, they wouldn't be sleeping with these folks. Empowerment has to first come with reality. Our reality is we are not winning. It's like telling a losing basketball team that they are winners when they aren't. Have to do both. He said, if there's an imbalance, either in feel good or too much victim images, you aren't holistic. KW Don 7 said the reparations you're going to get is no more affirmative action. Grandma used to say, Ms. Howard is here saying hello to everyone. Hello to you. I hope you're doing well also, by the way. With that said, let me welcome in our next panelist who just came up, Carl. Carl, how are you this week?
I'm doing good, Coco. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming through.
All right. Yeah. So I just caught the tail end of the discussion. My neighbors are shooting fireworks off, so you know how that is. Yeah, I think that knowing the history is good, but again, it's not like the world knows our history. It's not like that information is hidden. They just don't care. So I think that's part of the problem is that the knowledge is out there, but what do we do with the knowledge is really the question. And I think that we're not utilizing it. Like the poet said in the chat, it's just, a bunch of feel-good knowledge. But, if you're not using it to change your, position in the society, then you're just going to die feeling good, which is kind of where we are now. So I'll leave it there. I'm about to head back inside the house because these fireworks are ridiculous right now.
Oh, all right, thanks.
My man Mr. Chat, when he talking about how black folk being buried underwater is a feel-good story.
Yeah. I guess I caught the tail end of it. Yeah, I've heard about this is talk about Lake Lanier in Georgia.
Nah, he talking about a bunch of black folk being drowned, like a bunch of black cities being destroyed and drowned. That's not a feel-good story.
So I'm thinking about Lake Lanier in Georgia, the one that was buried. That basically they drove the black people out and then they flooded the town. I think it's in Forsyth County. I've heard of that. It's supposedly haunted, from what I hear.
Oh, shout out to Miss Erica. Shout out to Miss Erica for coming through. That's one of my favorite people on Brother Bakari's channel and platform. So shout out to her. I hope she feels well.
Yeah, I echo those thoughts as well. Lake Lanier always has some tragedy on it. Some white folks, like every couple of years, if not every year. So that's why some people feel like it's haunted as well. I'll give Trigger the last word on this prompt. He says, where we are now is that politically conscious and Pan-Africanists probably know about this history, but not the majority of black people and the intricacies of this history. One thing I'll say is that, I don't know if we ever really sat down as a people and studied the history and decided and determined what things we will just never let happen again. What things that we should identify that's like the signal for some shit going down again, like what has happened to us in the past. I don't know if we ever had that conversation. It's a little bit of a shame that we didn't. It's a bit of a shame that we didn't, because that's why we see our people belly aching about CRT and what's this thing that just happened the other day again? I can't think of the name now, but the affirmative action thing, we wouldn't still be so like up in arms about it. We would understand why these things happen. Anyway, Erica says, thanks, but still in hospital. Hopefully be home soon. Oh, I didn't know you were in the hospital. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, feel better, man. pulling for you for sure. Should the read topic number 2 is it time to cancel Alex Haley? Can we trust him? Of course, this came with a link that takes us to Instagram. Hopefully it plays. Or is it just an image? Okay. Alex Haley. Oh, wait, there is a video. It says Alex Haley changed the text of Malcolm X's autobiography. Betty spoke on it. So let's see what the video is saying. If it's going to play. Oh, that sucks. All right, looks like I'm not going to get the audio on this. But the
oh no, the button was on the bottom right. I just saw it. Wait, can you hear me? Yeah. So if you scroll down, there's like a you have to press the audio on, right there. Yeah, you see it? That black thing. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for pointing that out. I totally missed that. Okay, let's do it.
From the beginning, that it would be the Black Muslims in coordination with the government. He never changed. That was Haley's part that he put in there. One of the things he was saying that he only trusted one woman, and that was me. Alex Cheek put it to 4. I don't know who the other 3 were supposed to be. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But no, he was a thinker. Why would he at the last minute say that he wasn't sure that the Black Muslims were the only one involved? He knew from the very beginning who it was. He had been told who it was.
Mm-hmm. Did you get any?
All right, let me play it one more time just to make sure everyone caught it.
The telephone conversation with Alex Haley. Malcolm said that the more I keep thinking about this thing, the things that have been happening lately, I'm not at all sure it's the Muslims.
Well, let me just tell you, Alex kind of took, what do you call that? Creative license? Yes, absolutely. And he did that after Malcolm's assassination.
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm said from the beginning that it would be the Black Muslims in coordination with the government. He never changed. That was Haley's part that he put in there. One of the things he was saying that he only trusted one woman, and that was me. Alex Cheek put it to 4. I don't know who the other 3 were supposed to be. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But no, he was a thinker. Why would he at the last minute say that he wasn't sure that the Black Muslims were the only one involved? He knew from the very beginning who it was. He had been told who it was.
Mm-hmm. Did you get any?
Very interesting. The caption for this post says Alex Haley was caught multiple times plagiarizing works from other authors. Therefore, we should accept the autobiography of Malcolm X as told to Alex Haley with a grain of salt due to Haley's lack of professional integrity. Here in this interview, Betty Shabazz speaks on some areas where Haley misled the public with Malcolm's autobiography. There are chapters missing from the autobiography, see the previous post, that only Haley had access to since he was the one who finished the autobiography after Malcolm was assassinated, right? So very interesting. Very interesting. I've never heard that particular video before. Let me see what Carl has to say about it. Carl, is it time to cancel Alex Haley? Can we trust him?
Well, I don't think we should cancel him, but I do think we do have to re-examine his work in light of who he was, his audience of who he was writing for. The autobiography of Malcolm X to me personally, is such a very important book because I believe that was partially my gateway to consciousness. And I also heard how he embellished some parts of Roots as well. But I do think we have to kind of look at his work and question what he put down and understand who was he writing for? Was he trying to sell an agenda? I recently heard about some of the parts that were written about between the Black Muslims and Dr. King and Malcolm X. Many of those things were embellished as well. So I'm just a little curious as to why he would make these changes and exactly how many changes were made. But I do think the work is still, I do think most of what Malcolm believed came through that book. Plus, we have his speeches, we have his other writings as well. But I don't know if we should cancel Haley, but I definitely think we got to start looking at him and dig a little deeper. And with enough information, then we can come to a better conclusion. But I'm definitely looking at him sideways. But that book is so near and dear to my heart. It upsets me to think that there were whole chapters left off the book he didn't include. For what reason? Why would he not include that information? So he's leaving out things that Malcolm said that obviously he felt was important enough to include in his autobiography. So yeah, I'm definitely looking at Alex Haley a little suspect now. But I'll leave it there. I'll let the next person take the mic. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Carl. Let's hear from Oni. Oni would say.
Yeah, so I was this one time I guess the first and last time I saw Dr. Ben was at this event shortly after I think Manny Marable's book was published. And Manny Marable, I think Malcolm X's grandnephew was invited to speak about, the ridiculousness of the Manny Marable book. But he started talking about his own book that he was writing. And he told a story about how he wrote a really good, maybe not firsthand because, he wasn't born yet, but, or he wasn't even alive, right? But some sort of account about Malcolm X, right? He was writing this text about Malcolm X. And then his publisher, I think he said it might have been a white guy, but still, his publisher said, okay, this is not going to work. And, Malcolm X's grandnephew or whatever was like, no, I want it to be published this way, blah, blah, blah. And the publisher told him, hey, look, do you want to write an autobiography? Do you want to write do you want to write a story about Malcolm X, or do you want to make money? And it dawned on me that, like, at that point, me and my friend, joked from there about how, sometimes you either compromise or you don't, right? And when you don't, you probably, like, your shit might not see the light, So, like, for instance, I write books where I don't compromise, okay? And I also don't sell books. You know what I'm saying? like, I also don't live on my books. Like I can't, like I gotta be honest. Like you can be like, hey, look, I'm not gonna compromise. So, you have Alex Haley, right? The government, I mean, look, Malcolm X, just like according to the clip that we just heard, Malcolm X was telling his wife, yeah, I know the Muslims and the government cooperated to kill me, right? Now, Alex Haley is alive, and they just killed his mans. And, of course, the government going to come around and say, now you're going to write something a little different. And Alex Haley could be like, no, fuck you. I'm not going to write nothing different, right? And all we would see is that this was Alex Haley's last book. That's all we know. And not only that, we wouldn't even know that because the book wouldn't be in anybody's hands. Okay? Like you can say there are, let's say, hundreds of thousands of books from 1970s. And we seem to only know about like 5. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that to say, everybody should know we do not live in a free society. Everybody should know that we're living under censorship. Everybody should know that this white boy just went out and killed this black man who ain't never hurt nobody. who ain't never hurt nobody. They went and killed this man and shit on his name and all that kind of stuff. Of course, his autobiography was subject to censorship, to government censorship. And anybody who believes that the government doesn't play a role in censorship, it's like just look at how many people are listening to the podcast. Look how many people are listening to my podcast. You gotta understand. I'm not gonna say, oh, it's the government that does it, because that's not necessarily always the case. But what I'm saying is that you have to come to terms with, you know what? You're actually not free in America. America, like when America says freedom for Americans, they're not talking about you. And if you paid attention to Malcolm X, you know he said, look, we ain't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. Malcolm X would tell you, he would let you know. Like if you listen to Malcolm X a little bit, he would say, look, you are not an American. So yeah, all that freedom shit was for the Americans. Alex Haley, he was writing this book, and then of course the government said, no. You're not printing that. You're not printing that we was responsible for his death. Fuck out of here. Like what? And I mean, I get it, you know, and you know, like that's just how the world is for us in America. You know, it's really how the world is generally for everybody on the planet. But you thinking that you were gonna be free in America, like where did you get that thought? Like, where did you get that thought? If we just go back to the last prompt, where did you get that thought? That's all I'm gonna say.
Appreciate that, Oni. Yeah, that was a good response there. I like that. Let me see. Let me hear what Buana has to say. Is it time to cancel Alex Haley? Can we trust him? What say you, Buana?
I would say absolutely not. I wouldn't cancel Alex Haley at all, because I see there's a trend in terms of a lot of our great scholars, a lot of our great thinkers. And the trend is that after they die, you hear the criticisms all of a sudden start to come up. You know, Alex Haley is one of them, where we as a community are supposed to look up the autobiography of Malcolm X with a jaundiced view of the book now. You know, regardless of the fact that the substance of the book is felt throughout the world. You know, we are now supposed to pull at threads within the book itself and make it not credible now, knowing how impactful that literature is to the entire world. And you have to wonder where these ideas coming from. You really have to wonder. I remember there was a criticism of Ivan Van Sertima saying that his work, as many as different works that he has talked about, you know, they try to pull at his scholarship, having the same arguments of his critics, taking the same talking points of his critics, not understanding that Ivan Van Sertima made several different responses to We Came Before Columbus, before he died, within academia itself. I never hear the counter arguments when people try to pull at Ivan Van Sertima. Then you have Malcolm X. Marble Manning wrote a book saying how he was a homosexual. This is after he died, of course. How he was a homosexual, engaged in all manner of different kinds of things. Malcolm ain't here to defend himself. After Dr. Frances Cress Welsing died, Mark Lamont Hill was commenting on the good doctor's work after she died. And I see it, there's a trend here in even with us starting to, when they made these critiques, their critiques are similar to their critics when they were alive, these scholars' critics when they were alive. So I am very slow to condemn Alex Haley. I think substantially let that work stand as it is, because it's impactful to so many different kinds of people throughout the world. That's first and foremost. Second, to Dr. Betty Shabazz's comments. Dr. Betty Shabazz said that she doesn't know, out of the Alex Haley mentioned 4 different women, and Malcolm told her that she was the only woman he trusted. Now, there are some things that a man is confessed to his woman. And there are some things a man can confess to his brother, you know what I mean, that his woman may not know. Because if you read the autobiography of Malcolm X, one of the other closest women to Malcolm X was Ella, his sister. She was very close with him, paid for several different journeys to Mecca and Africa. And another person, he was close to his mother as well. That's another woman. So I think it's hubris on her part to make that suggestion, but I don't know what, because Alex Haley in the book talked about how Malcolm felt about his mother. He loved his mother. You know what I mean? Of course he trusted her. Of course he trusted his sister. You know, he was very close to them as well. So these are some things that he probably would have confessed to Alex Haley and not necessarily her. Another thing too is these people who are critiquing and saying what should be left out of literature and what should be put into literature, they are not writers. They don't know what's going to be readable to the mass public. They don't know. There are several profound things that Malcolm X would have stated, but it might not necessarily be readable material. And him as a writer would know what to keep and what to take out. You know, so we are standing as non-professionals trying to critique what writers do as a profession. You know, it's almost like you telling the doctor, say, no, don't cut there, cut there. You know what I mean? You don't know. He's a writer. He understands how literature works. He understands what's readable. He understands what's sellable to the mass public. You know, so I say leave the professions to the professionals sometimes. You know, but I would not cancel Alex Haley first and foremost because he is no longer here to defend himself like many of our other scholars, thinkers, and writers. Malcolm X ain't here. Ivan Van Sertima ain't here. Francis Cress Welsing ain't here. But I hear the criticism. Everybody have these opinions now, but when these people was alive, you didn't hear their mouth. You know, because they couldn't go toe to toe with these people. But they so comfortable now giving their stupid opinions. But when these people was alive, they couldn't stand academically to debate with these people. So I don't know. I am very slow to critique Alex Haley. I'm very slow to critique him. You know, he's dead. He's no longer here to defend himself. That's where I am with it.
Yeah, I think to your point, you got to make writing sexy. If you expect people to read it, it has to be sexy, and sexy can be defined in numerous ways, but it has to be something that will be interesting and not, you know, like Trigger Happy is saying here, not full of, you know, particularly deep descriptions of ideological stances, you know. So yeah, I could see that. And then the trump card to me in that discussion was, yeah, the government is going to monitor what the fuck is sold out here, especially if it's coming through like a big publisher. You know, they're going to be in the, especially if it's coming from a Malcolm X. They're going to want to see what's going on here. You know, and they will have some say in it too, because again, these people are the architects of the current reality that we live. Does anyone want to add any last thoughts to this?
Let me just say this right here. Well, one, I mean, to your last point, matter of fact, you know, the government just killed the guy, and then a book is coming out about him, and you think they're not, and they killed him because they didn't want his influence spreading. Right, so obviously they're gonna play a role in this book. Like it's almost like a no-brainer, because otherwise they were just gonna kill Alex Haley and burn the whole book collection down, like burn all the copies down. So he had to. But to Bwana point, it's like, yeah, if you would like what married man in your right mind, like what married man you know is gonna tell his woman, you know, I trust 4 women. You know what? Which married man in his right and allegedly, you know, he had marital problems already. You know, I could tell y'all. Matter of fact, when I was a married man, I would call and talk to this woman, you know, another woman for like 3 hours, you know, sometimes 2 hours or whatever, just a conversation. That was a problem. Like that was a fight over there, right? And I even had those kind of problems that they alleged Malcolm X. But anyway, my point being though, Like, of course you're gonna tell your woman, you know, you're the only woman I trust. Why would she know about the other 4 women that you trust, or the other 3 women you trust? Like, what good would that be in your marriage? Especially another point is that if you ain't got that much money in your marriage, you can be like, oh yeah, I trust these other 3 women. And like Brother was saying, we know that there's Ella, but also I just want to reinforce that point of, you know, you don't know the quality. Like of course, Alex Haley's a quality writer. You guys go read Roots. That's a quality book. Now, some people could say that some of them pages were, you know, taken off from somebody else's book and all that kind of stuff, or maybe it's whatever. But regardless, that's a quality book. Malcolm X's autobiography is also a quality story. If there was this extra chapter, it probably was an extra chapter on the inner philosophy of the Nation of Islam, which is not that interesting. Might be that interesting to Malcolm X. You know, the story of Yaqub and how Yaqub created, you know, you created white people in the lab over 6,000. You know, that might sound interesting to Malcolm X, or the lessons. It might be, but it's not really parallel to the autobiography. One, and it's not really that interesting. The story, as told by, and of course, because Malcolm X was assassinated, I'm sure you had to make some literary decisions in the sense of, let's focus on the build up to his death, because that's something that, if you guys remember from the book, it kind of builds up to, oh yeah, we're going to cover him being assassinated. You know, so we're covering his life and so on and so forth. It was a really good, well-written autobiography, well-written story. If they left out a quote-unquote chapter, or they left out some passages, like who get like again, if it's not your craft, don't worry about it. Oh, that's the point I wanted to make. The thing is this: Malcolm X was alive. There were at the time 40, I don't want to say 40, matter of fact, 20 million other black people on the planet, in America. 20 million other black people in America. Not one of them decided, let's write an autobiography too. Only one, Alex Haley, and yet you throwing stones at this guy. And nobody wrote a biography for Betty Shabazz. Nobody wrote a biography for Martin King Jr. Nobody wrote a biography for Kwame Ture. Nobody's done anything. The only person who said, let me just record some historical figure with some sort of accuracy is Alex Haley, and then you want to cancel the one person doing the work when so many other people could have done work. Come on. Be serious. You know? And say what you will. And here's the thing, too. If you want to talk about Betty Shabazz, I like Betty Shabazz. I think she's still alive, so I'm not going to say nothing about it. But what I'm saying is this. When it comes to Garvey, his wife is the one who published his works. So you can't sit up with this man and you know the real story. You could have just told his story. And why didn't you? And no disrespect to the sister, but I'm just saying, if you feel like Alex Haley did it wrong, you could have done it right. Instead of saying, oh, he didn't do it wrong. And now people say, let's cancel the guy. No, if you know what the right thing is, because we all want to know, then tell us. You don't tell me, oh, the other man didn't do it right. Oh, the fuck? No disrespect to the elder.
Sister Betty passed away a few years ago. She died in a fire.
Yeah, she died like 20 years ago. She died 20 years ago, and the grandson who caused the fire, he died like 10 years ago. He was killed in Mexico, yeah. So Betty been gone for a while now. May she rest in peace. Does anyone want to add any other words here after what only have to say? Let me shout out Brother Bakari in the chat saying peace and black power. He says black people love to cancel elders. Yep, that's very true. For time's sake, let me go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 3. Since no one else had anything to add. Shoot the Breeze topic number 3 says, is this wrong or culture? This takes us back to YouTube.
All right, what's good, my kings and queens? I hope all is fair well on your side, because everything is lovely on my side. But there's something that I want to share with you guys. It's a video that I saw of some African-American ladies that came to the slave castle. And I really love that they came to the slave castle. But they was twerking on top of the slave castle. And then they said it was for the ancestors. So check this video out and tell me what you think about it. That was crazy, right? I mean, when I saw that video, I was like, oh my God, I know they're not doing this to it. Because see, the only thing about it is a lot of people here, they put everyone in the same boat. So by them seeing these few African Americans doing this, they assume that we are all doing that, you know, and that's not good on the tension that some people already have, you know, between Africans and African Americans. But don't get me wrong, twerking was already in Africa. Watch this video. The bad thing about that is due to social media, it has influenced a lot of people here in Africa already. Let them get the influence from that. But I think it's quite disrespectful for someone to come from America bringing certain Western ways here to Africa, when, like I say, it was already here. But don't you be the one to come put more influence on the youth, because we all know that the youth is like sponges and they soak up everything that they see on TikTok, Facebook, and all other social media outlets. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe, and please leave a comment. We belong in Africa.
Yes, indeed. So that video will be on mute, but it will be looping during the conversation for those who care to know. Yeah. So Betty Shabazz passed away in 1997. KW7 came through with the info there. Brother Bakari says twerking did start in Africa. They just didn't call it twerking. I want to see twerking video again. He says, I like what I saw. So let me start with Carl. Is this wrong, what these young female Africans from America did? Is this wrong, or is this just them being cultural?
So this is wrong as 2 left feet. There's a time and a place for everything. It really is. I'm not denying that twerking is a part of Black people's history. Okay, that's fine. But there's a time and a place for everything. You wouldn't see Native Americans busted wide open at Wounded Knee. You wouldn't see Jewish people dropping it like it's hot at Auschwitz. So why is it that at a scene of one of our great tragedies, you have Black people who want to shake their ass? Why is that appropriate? You can twerk when you get back to your hotel room. You can twerk at the nightclub. But everything is not a party. Everything is not a celebration. There should be some level of respect for what our ancestors have gone through. And that was not the appropriate behavior, period. I don't care. If there's parts of your culture, just because it might be a part of your culture, don't mean it's the time to exhibit that part of your culture. That was the time for solemn respect for what our people went through. That just wasn't the time for that. Let's not try to turn it into something that is not. You know, it's not a party. It's not for the ancestors. The ancestors wanted to be free. They didn't want you shaking their damn ass on you. It's not a time for. They wanted you to kill. They wanted to be liberated. It's not appropriate for that type of environment, that type of historical setting. I look at it as, you know, when white people have like weddings at plantations, you know, it's not a celebration. People were enslaved there. It's not a place for you to go and put your new gown on and take pictures. So this is not the place for that type of behavior. So yeah, it's definitely wrong. It might be culture, but it's still wrong, and it's not the place or the time to do that type of stuff. So I'll leave it there, Coco. Thank you.
I appreciate that call. Yeah, I tend to agree with what you said too. I saw it, and to me, it's just particularly distasteful. Considering where they were, it's like dancing on your ancestors' graves, kind of type thing. Thanks again, Carl, for that. Let me hear from Oni. Oni, what say you to this?
Only thing I can say, yeah, dang. No, I'm just I'm joking. What all right, I was just waiting for the video to pass. Exactly right. I'm just so aggravated. I had to, focus, on some other stuff. All right. What about shit? Wrong call. Yeah, I mean it's awful. Oh my gosh. Like no, you see, so I kind of made a joke, 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. And I think most of us should probably say 0, although 2 is looking pretty good. But the thing is this: you got to be some sort of trash ass individual to go to a place of torture of your own ancestors and dance around. Like, it don't make no damn sense to do that at a place of torture. I mean, if you went through the whole experience, like, because you ain't just land on top of the castle, you probably have to go through a fucking dungeon, right? All right, hold on a second. You probably have to go through a damn dungeon, and going through a dungeon where, I remember when I went, I'm not really an emotional guy, okay? I remember when I went, and, the height of the prison cell is like, I don't know, like 5'2" or something like that. So you couldn't stand there. Now you're waiting in this small space, eating scraps while you're standing, and you can't stand fully tall unless you're short, I guess, but you can't stand. You're huddled with, like, let's say 60 people to a room that most of us would say, you have 3 people in, like, not necessarily at maximum capacity for 3 people, but still, like, it's a small room. Like, let's say the size of your living room, you got 60 people there, huddled, hungry and kidnapped and losing family and dying and all that shit. And then you go there to shake your ass on top of the roof. Why the fuck? Like, what kind of a horrible individual are you? Granted, like I said, one of the women, a couple of women look good, but that's the big warning sign. And that's the, I actually have to watch what I say because I'm being stalked by some freaking creep. But what I'm saying is that like men have to start recognizing terrible characteristics. You have to have some sort of solemnity, or I don't know how that word is, but you have to have something when you're faced with your own ancestral grave. It's like, for instance, if I go to my mother's grave, and then I imagine, like, because one of the things that we used to know about, we used to hear about, or we used to even mock each other about, was like, I'll piss on your grave. You know what I mean? Like we know it's something disrespectful to do somebody's grave. Now imagine going to your own mother's grave and doing some shit like that. Like, what kind of a sick individual do you have to be? Right? Especially if your mother ain't never done nothing wrong to you. And so these are people who were kidnapped and tortured and abused in this place. In this space. And you come back to shake your ass for what? They were not dancing there. It's different if you went to their village and you were dancing, like, hey, they used to dance here. That makes sense. They were being raped in these fucking rooms. And you're dancing there. What kind of a sick, like, it's stupid. I got distracted, but it's stupid and it's horrible. And yeah, it's the caliber and the quality of women, and I'm going to say, especially in the West, right? The quality and caliber of women is very, very faint at this point. And I've been to Africa, and yeah, it's like, wow, the contrast is just striking. And I get the passport bros, I get them, because they say to themselves, hey, look, these torture chambers are more available to these women over here, but they never you never get caught. Like if they're dancing on them, they never publish no videos of that shit. And it's not even, and some people say it's not even their ancestors. Those are your ancestors. And you pay thousands of dollars to go over, fly over to where they were tortured, and then you dance. You are the lowest. That's all I'm gonna say. Sorry.
I like the passion, Naomi. Yeah, I appreciate that. Let me welcome in a new panelist. Let me welcome in Brother Bakari this week. Brother Bakari, how are you?
What's going on? Peace to the panel, to the chat. Look, I ain't gonna be on here long, but people probably ain't gonna like what I say. But I put in the chat, look up, it's a video, how Africans are at funerals. And it's not, we are looking at things through Western eyes. I understand that going through those slave dungeons and everybody's gonna see things, everybody see and do things a little different. But if they say they were twerking for the ancestors, I'm willing to bet you they had some ancestors that was doing that. It just wouldn't call twerking. I'm just saying we look at it as something that's supposed to be sad, right? It's a horrible thing that happened to our people. But for me personally, it really didn't bother me. There was nothing there was nothing there for me to be upset with those women. I don't see it as disrespectful. Now, they're not twerking right here on this video, but you will see it's more of a celebration. It's not like it's not like people is in mourning. It's more of a celebration. So are they being disrespectful? I'm just asking. They didn't twerk, but they have turned this death more into a celebration. Death is part of living. I'm just saying death is part of living. And for me, I just didn't see nothing so wrong with it where I hear how other people is, I don't know, I would say talking about them. That's just me personally. I'm not saying people is wrong for how they feel. But for me, while Oni was talking about the video, he kept getting distracted. But for me,
there was some assets, you know.
But for me, it didn't bother. I'm just being honest. It didn't bother me. Our ancestors, man, some of our warriors or whatever, they were looking like, damn, they look good. Hope somehow men protecting them. That's how I see it. I'm just saying, you know, on that, I yield the mic. And plus, I'm gonna step down and listen offline because I was a little busy. I just wanted to come on here and say that I don't see nothing. Because I ain't gonna lie, I enjoyed the view. So with me, and I'm just saying.
Well, let me say this. It's different when I don't know if you've been to one of those dungeons, but I tell you, man, there's no like you can't like it's. I feel like it's disrespectful to somebody. Like it's like if a woman is, you know, like if a woman's attacked, and then you just kind of like joke about it to her or some shit, you know, like you laughing and joking in her face, you know, about being attacked or some shit. It's like that's not it. You know what I mean? Like these are dungeons. These are castles that these Europeans built to like host too many people and steal them from their homes and raid villages and shit. It's not a place like I know that folk in Africa be, you know, doing, you know, laughing and dancing at funerals and shit, but this is different. This is a dungeon. Like yeah, it's just a little it's just a lot different. Like torture chambers. Like going to Jeffrey Dahmer's place and just like, you know, laughing or some shit, or like going to you know, where Fred Hampton was killed and just, you know, goofing around laughing at that experience there, you know, making light of Fred Hampton's experience, making light of Jeffrey Dahmer's victims in their space. It's like some places have to be, sometimes you should feel something. You should feel something, and like you should feel some sort of restriction in your behavior, or some sort of, this is serious. Making light of somebody's torture is just not, like, I don't even do that, and I mean, yeah, I don't even do that.
Now,
You know what?
I haven't been to those, although I am making a trip next year, hopefully. But some things we have to hold sacred. Now, I understand a funeral being a celebration of life. Someone who's lived a long life, they've passed on. That's one thing. Elmina Castle is not that. This is like to Oni's point, people were tortured there. People were sold away from their homes, knowing they would never see them again. I read a book by Olida Equiano, who he was also kidnapped in slavery. Many Africans believed that they were being taken away to be consumed by Europeans. So you can imagine the fear and the terror that these people felt, knowing they would never see their loved ones again, not knowing what would be their fate. So again, funeral, hey, that's fine. But we have to hold some things within our culture to be sacred. Some things to where you don't mess around with that. And again, that was some nice asses to look at. But I'm sorry, we got to keep it focused. That's not the place to do that. So if you want to do that at the club. But here, again, like I said, my point before, you wouldn't see Jewish people misbehaving at Auschwitz, at Sobibor, at Dachau. You wouldn't see Native Americans at Wounded Knee doing some mess like this. And I'm sure they celebrate at their funerals, but there's a time and a place for everything. This was not the time and the place for this. So it's not a funeral. So that's all. I'm going to leave it there.
My thing, like, I don't know what a Jewish person would do or what a Indian would do. But my thing is, right, for me, well, maybe I'm the wrong person to talk about this, because I'm being honest, man. I've almost been desensitized. I'm being honest with you. I know what you mean by the dungeons. I haven't been there, and I know my mama say when she went there, and everybody I know personally, whoever went there, they say it was a hell of a experience. Say you go in there and it's like you feel like you about to get on it. Feel like you're about to get on the ship. They say they're crying, and and it's hurting. They say, like my mama, when she was talking to me, her and her people that went, they were talking like you could almost hear. See, they felt like they could hear the people crying not to get on the boats. So I can understand how some people feel, and I understand just a regular funeral and all that may be different. But for me, and it's sad that I was able to it's sad that I made it to this point. But like, shit, I'm almost desensitized to any of that. And I'm just being honest. I just say, like, death is death. I don't even do funerals no more, man. I saw my first murder at 7, second at 10. So much death been around me. I saw my daddy die. I lost my wife 17 years ago. I had a child die 20, 30 minutes after birth. So a lot of things just don't bother me. And it just don't bother me in that way. And if it do, maybe it do when I'm sitting somewhere by myself. But on here on this YouTube, and when we were talking, and when I see it, I saw some nice looking women twerking. And what I said was, this is something our women have always done. And I didn't even think about the aspect of, and I'm being honest, I didn't think about the aspect of the dungeon. I didn't even think about the aspect of where it was. I just knew they were in Africa twerking, and they say they twerking for their ancestors. Other than that, I didn't even think about anything else. So I'm not saying, and that's what I'm saying. I didn't think about the other stuff. I didn't.
Okay. So for me, something is interesting happening here as I watch this video. Okay. Because if twerking is something that is cultural and it's just something that Black women do, and there is no gauge, there is no stoppage on where and when they're going to do these things, right? They'll do it at a cemetery, for the ancestors. They'll do it in their mother's grave. They'll do it anywhere. They'll do it on the slave dungeon. No problem. No problem. But I'm asking, have you ever seen a video where these same women or women like these dress up in their corporate clothes and go on that white man job at 9 o'clock in the morning and then start twerking on the corporate table when they having a meeting? Have you ever seen that? Because you could do it. If you could do it on a grave site, of course you could do it at the business office, because you could do it anywhere. It's about empowerment. So why stop it at the graveyard? Do it when you go to work on a white man job from 9 to 5. Do it there as well. Because ain't no barometer where you can and can't do it. You can do it anywhere. It's empowering. See, this African woman right here, she doing it while she is working. You know, she have to bend over with the shovel, and she shoveling the dirt. So she already bent over. She working and she having fun and twerking. So I am asking them same women to go do the same thing at their job, work and twerk. Are they gonna do that, or they have limits and say, well, we can't do it here? We can do it everywhere else, even on a black man and a black woman gravesite. But when it comes to when we go into this business office, we gonna act accordingly. We gonna regulate ourselves. That is the sacred place. The corporate job is the sacred place, because there ain't nowhere else sacred. Obviously, the corporate job sacred. Because I never see that video yet. Interesting though. But let me say this too. There's a false equivalency happening here, because the sisters was at the Almena Castle dancing on the grave site. Historically, whatever happened there, right? The African woman is working in the field and she tilling the soil and she twerking. The context is different. They're completely different. One is at work and one is on vacation, standing on the top of a slave castle, which is the equivalent of a grave site, and twerking. So that I feel like that's a false equivalency. You say, well, these people over here doing it too. Yeah, but where are they doing it? Where are they doing it? One doing it in the middle of the road, look like a man was there too, and look like they was having fun and playing or whatever. But I don't see them doing it at a grave site. You know what I mean? I said, so if we find boundaries when we go in certain places, while we can't find boundaries when we find ourselves at certain sacred sites, or we say for the ancestors, where ancestors were tortured, beat up, raped, maligned, little girls get abused, we can dance there. But when you have to go to that corporate job and that boss tell you to dress up in that nice suit and fry your hair in a certain way and show up at work at 8:30 in the morning, I ain't see them twerking videos yet. I'm waiting to see them, but I'll stop there.
I think what Trigger said is pretty important. Like he says, Chef Sade said that they were strippers, you know? And that's the thing about it too. Like, we recognize that these women might be women of low repute, but for some reason we also are like, let's pretend like, oh, there's something good here, some sort of good quality here, that these are women representing a culture, when they are really just strippers who have limited discretion or limited self-control. And I say that because the brother, we were using the example earlier about the Jews in Auschwitz, whatever, right? And it's like, just imagine, because we talk about what's cultural. Oh, black people twerk, that's culture. All right, you know what? Every human being on the planet has sex. Okay, all of us have sex. All right. Sex is not as extreme as twerking, obviously. Twerking is not as extreme as sex, but still, we all know that all of us have sex. So sex is a part of all of our culture. However, you have to limit where you have sex, right? And if you go to, like, for instance, you go to a playground and have sex, something wrong with you. You go to a church and have sex, I kind of get it. It's a little bit, I mean, again, if you're not that religious, it makes a little sense. But here you are.
Listen to this guy. Listen to this freaking 5-star degenerate. Why you have sex?
Always something, man.
It's fuck the church, man. Nah, it's fuck the church. But anyway, but look, what I'm saying is this. But then you go like again, like if you're a fucking Jew and you are you know, like I said, everybody has sex, part of everybody's culture. You're fucking you're not gonna go, oh man, girl, I would like to hit it in next to this oven. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna do that because if you do that, something's wrong with you in that culture, in that cultural framework, right? But here we would probably be like, yeah, they having sex on top of the dungeon, nothing wrong with that. That's fucked up. And we have to start because again, no other people are going to say, you know, because it's not even about being religious, not even about having a divine place, not about you know, it's just this. I think the word is solemnity or something like that, or sacredness. You have to have something sacred as a people. I'm not saying you have to. And, you know, of course, you know, it's coming wrong for me because, you know, people think I'm an atheist or something, right? But what I mean by sacred is just like have some damn dignity. There's a time and a place, you know, and if you don't have that sort of self-control, people are right to condemn you. In fact, I don't even know who this artist is. I think his name is Davido or something. He's like a Nigerian guy. They said that his daughter just died, and then he was already messing with he already got 2 other women pregnant. People were like, "There's something wrong with you, my guy. If your daughter got pregnant." Your daughter just died and you didn't mess with other women right away. Like there's just a time and place. There's a certain social code that you should adhere to, and to completely disregard it and to be strippers on top of that. And then there's nothing wrong with that. It's like, come on, like time and place. You could have sex anywhere, but just do it where most people have no qualm with it. Let's do it in the bedroom. That's what I'm saying.
I think part of it is that, and this is just maybe my speculation, is that overall, Black people have low racial esteem. Overall, I'm talking about the majority. We don't see ourselves worthy of a certain consideration, a certain respect for our fallen, our ancestors, the people who went before us, who suffered for us to get where we are. And I think that comes from the low racial esteem that we have as a group due to living in you know, a white dominated society. So it's easy to say, well, you know, they just dance, they just dancing. But I mentioned the other sites of historical trauma, historical, you know, genocides and whatnot, to understand these people who have a high racial esteem, they're not going to tolerate that type of behavior at one of those sacred sites. So I think it's really speaking to the low esteem that we have as a people for our ancestors suffering, our history, and not talking about the people on the panel. I'm assuming you're tuning in here on a Saturday night. You know, you have a level of racial esteem. But for those that don't, they're not going to, you know, really see what's the problem. They just sisters having a good time. No, this is not the place to be having a good time. Sit your ass down somewhere and show some respect.
All right.
Boy, I gotta say, leave it to my big brother Bakari, man. I know Brother Bakari love with black women. Because he'll justify all their wrongdoings and make it right.
I don't know anything about that. What I was about to say is, right, when we say we ain't gonna see the Jews doing that, right? You also ain't gonna find no holy book where Black people wrote saying it's okay to have sex with a 3-year-old and they can get their virginity back. So stop comparing us to some funky ass Jews. Stop comparing us to some funky ass Native Americans. We might eat chitlins, but we don't leave the dookie in the chitlins for extra flavor like they do the goat chitlins. Stop comparing us to other people. Talking about we ain't gonna see them do this and we ain't gonna see them do that. If what they did was wrong, we felt it was wrong, okay, it was wrong. Like I said, I didn't even think about no dungeon or nothing about that. I saw some people dancing and they said they was doing it for the ancestors. I didn't even think about what they was dancing at. But my point is now is stop comparing us to other people and what they do. We don't do what they do. Yeah, their culture have been forced on us. So maybe we feel we should do what the Jews do because their culture been forced on us through their Bible. Or maybe we feel we should do because their culture been forced on us through enslavement. But if we stop looking at what they might do or what other people might do, and just look at what we would do, then we can correct our actions, because correcting me ain't telling me to do what other people would do. And we do that, for me anyway, we do that way too much. Oh, let's be like them. Okay, let's just go down. What only when only was talking about, because he talked about his escapades and everything. So so when only brought up his sescapades, let's do like the Jews. Let's just have sex everywhere with any and everybody. See, because we're gonna do like other people do. If it's wrong, it's wrong, but we ain't got to compare them and talk about what a Native American ever do. We didn't paint our face with bird dookie either. Native Americans did that. I'm just saying, we always comparing ourselves to other people who had the ability to force their culture on us because of what we went through. I'm just saying that's my take on it.
I don't think that's a fair comparison, because when I'm comparing, I'm not trying to say we should do like they do, but understand that when you compare black people's low racial esteem versus other people who don't have low racial esteem, you can see the historical parallels in how we're behaving. This behavior that we're doing is not productive. So it's a fair comparison that these people were under oppression. We're under oppression. Why are we dancing and they're not? That's a fair comparison.
Well, I want to say this. I wasn't really.
Ain't none of those people been under oppression like we've been under oppression, though. Native Americans got their rock collar reservation.
It's not the oppression. I'm just saying. Sorry, we're not trying to get the gold and silver medal, but what I'm saying is nobody.
I was just saying this, that everybody has a place that they find solemn. Like, let's say the Americans and the Vietnamese, and like the Vietnamese memorial site, or the Americans in the 9/11 memorial site, or the Americans in Pearl Harbor or some shit, right? I'm not saying the Americans are good people, because I don't think they're good people. I don't think the Jews are good people. I don't really got nothing with the Native Americans, but like you said, they might rub shit on their face, but I mean, whatever, right? But the thing about what I'm saying is that you got these memorial sites, like this castle is a memorial site, so it's like there on top of the slave dungeon, so it's like, yeah, you don't go to a memorial site and then just like don't bow your head, to your own ancestors. Like, it's different if it was somebody else's ancestors, right? That's cool. Like if you go into the Vietnamese, like you go into the 9/11 site and you shaking your ass, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't give a shit. like that makes sense. Or like, y'all heard about some Arabs who like, yeah, the Twin Towers fell. That's cool. But like your own people, like if you an American, you're a white American, and you like, yeah, the Twin Towers fell. Like people gonna look at you side eye, because it's like
you're getting your ass whooped. I'm telling you right now, you're getting your ass beat.
I mean, like, because you gotta, like, you have to say to yourself, this is my people, right? And they went through a horrible experience. It's not like I shouldn't be shaking my ass over here, like there's, like I said, there's dry blood on the walls. You don't do that. Like, you don't go to somebody's. Matter of fact, I think somebody got popped for that shit. Like they got killed for that, where they was I think they put pictures of how they shot somebody's uncle. Like, somebody's uncle came to their house and they shot him, and then after that they like posted pictures on Instagram or some shit, and then the people, whoever was his relatives, then killed him. Because it's like, you can't do that to somebody's death space. And I mean, obviously, I know that's just superstition, right? I know that's just, whatever, but I also understand why it's a thing. So I'm not really comparing other people, but all I'm recognizing is that other people have memorial sites that they just don't like. I mean, and I'm saying most of us don't do fuck shit at our own memorial sites. You get what I'm saying? I think, if I'm being honest, I think this is probably the first time I've ever heard of somebody doing fuck shit at a memorial site.
I don't think it's that difficult, and Brother Bakari would agree. I think he would agree with this. If a white woman was to go into Atlanta at MLK's gravesite and on camera start winding up in front of his monument and stuff like that, I'm sure he would agree that many people would be upset about something like that, in particular Black Americans. Just like the same instance Like if a white person was to go to Jamaica and start winding up on Marcus Garvey gravesite and showing her crotch and doing all kind of nonsense like that, people will look at that crazy. You know what I mean? So I don't think they'll, and I think that he understand, because he say measure us by ourselves, don't measure us by other people, which he's right about. So it's not such of a big stretch when you see us going to our personal sacred places. This is one of them. This just is one of them. Marcus Garvey gravesite is one of them. MLK is one of them. The dungeons and Amina Castle is one of them. So I think that, we need to it was just wrong, and I would just leave it there. And measuring us by ourselves, I just think it was an act that it was just out of context, and the sisters was wrong for doing that, and we can move on from it.
Let's say they're wrong, but I'm gonna say again, I didn't even think about a dungeon or a castle. I'm just being honest. When somebody said they were twerking and they said they're twerking for their ancestors, I'm being honest. I wasn't thinking about that. I'm being honest. I really wasn't. It's been put in perspective. I can see it different, but in all honesty, I wasn't thinking about that. But yet, and still, for me, I don't know. Like I said, I'm almost desensitized to a whole lot of stuff. And I'm just being honest. This stuff still bother me, yeah. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Like I said, I could be the wrong person.
You be going to strip clubs every weekend, man. You done desensitized the booty. You desensitized the booty.
Vonna, you gotta fix your audio.
But once again, I can say some things, like you say, some things has to be sacred, and that should be sacred. And once again, like I said, I didn't think about that. When I was talking, I told you the people I knew who've been to the dungeons and how they felt. I didn't think about the dungeons and that being what it's. And now, honestly, I really truly didn't. And it could have been because my mind was focused on somewhere else while they were twerking. And I'm honest with you, but I wasn't thinking about the dungeons. So I'll just say that. I'm not saying y'all wrong in all honesty now, and I can say if I'm wrong. So I don't mind standing. I don't mind being corrected. So,
Brother Bakari, is it 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4?
Or on the disrespect?
Yeah, on the slave dungeon. It was 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4.
For what they did for disrespect, it'll be like a 2.
No, I mean, which one's the best looking? No, which number is the best looking?
Which one? Which number is the best looking? I don't even know, man. I don't know. I don't know.
The African chick, man. I wanted to get right under that. The African chick was the best looking.
I didn't hear that.
I think Bakari has an echo. I think it's a playback.
Which one?
Bakari.
The one in the white look nice, but she got to get a beating though, cause she out of pocket.
Shit, I'll get the gray though, boy. I don't know, boy. I'll get the gray.
So let me ask y'all a question. How do y'all know that was? Because I'm being honest, I really didn't know that was nothing where the slaves were. I'm being honest. How did y'all know? Because I didn't know. I just thought they was over in Africa dancing.
Okay, what number though?
Oh man, I ain't got my glasses on. I'm driving, man. All of them.
Man, you don't need glasses for that, man. You can see that shit from the moon.
Hey, play it again. Let it go back to them dancing. I'm gonna give you an answer. Cause I'm at the red light. Show the women dance. That one right there in that blue dress who ain't on the over there in the garden.
That's me right there. That's me right there. That's me right there.
I know she's in the garden.
With the shovel in the eye. With the shovel in the eye.
That orange, which one? In the orange dress. In the orange dress.
Orange dress, ain't she? Shit. Coco, you answer. Oh, Barter answer. But Barter needs the. Barter looking at the truck in the background or some shit.
Nah, I'm trying to check with the chick with a shovel in her hand because that chick booty was god dang.
It was not shoveling, yo.
I don't know what she was, but she definitely dragging a wagon.
Yeah, she dragging for sure. I think I might be with Juan on that one. She dragging for sure. Let's go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 4. But before we get to Should be topic number 4. Let me do a quick station ID. Stretch your legs, whatnot. We're ending at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, should be topic number 4 is going to be, is this the 14-year-old Zuli kept talking about? What do we expect a 14-year-old boy to do about a grown man punching his mother? We'll just do the station ID real quick, and we'll be back on the other side.
Hello there, dear listener. We hope you're enjoying this lovely discussion. If you're not already aware, this show is part of a podcast network called KWAZ Radio, a Pan-African nationalist and Garveyite network come to showcasing the rich and varied thoughts of African people. We have an exciting lineup of shows that we think you'll enjoy, including
the Bitter Medicine Podcast.
I think black people require too much buy-in. Like, we constantly have to sell black people on things that are beneficial to black people.
The Pro-Black Perspective Podcast.
I'm fearful that our people are not really studying how to get ahead, and we're kind of, continually staying behind.
The Harsh Reality Podcast.
To me, it don't matter. I think people are so dumbed down, it wouldn't matter what you reveal to them. They still are in the matrix. They're in the simulation. They're going to keep doing what they did. They lemmings. So to me, it don't matter, man.
The Learning Curve Podcast.
Sexual access has never given you economic empowerment. The only person who has ever been economically empowered by a sexual relationship is the wasp and his woman.
The Cassidra Cheek Show.
When we start rising up to fight for our own, I guarantee you they'll stop doing what they're doing. I guarantee you they would have let their brother go. They was waiting to see what black folks was going to do.
Brother Bakari Podcast.
Black people love to claim folks that hate them, right? They're a slave master, and they are ashamed of who they really are.
The 4Kast Radio.
Like, if you pray to the same deity as, like, your enemy, and that God blesses your enemy more than you may want to reconsider who you praying to,
And Tanzan, African Mind.
Africans generally are welcoming of everyone. Sometimes, to my consternation, I think that they should be less, welcoming.
If you love our podcast network, we would be grateful if you could rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on social media, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and check out our website at www.kwazradio.com for more information. Thank you for tuning in. And now, back to the program.
I don't know. That was kind of choppy for me. I don't know what it is with StreamYard, but you guys let me know if it was choppy for y'all too. A few of you are commenting on this topic already. Should the breeze topic number 4. Is this the 14-year-old Zuli kept talking about? What do we expect a 14-year-old boy to do about a grown man punching his mother? By the way, shout out to Miss Vita, who was out in the chat earlier. I kept forgetting to shout you out. Thanks for coming through. Ms. Vita was very active in Bakari's chat last night, where I was on with him, 4Kast, and Buana. You guys check out that latest episode of Brother Bakari's podcast too. And then Yana B has been active in the chat as well, so shout out to Yana B. This prompt came with several links, so let's get into the first one. The first one is going to take us to Twitter, and something went wrong apparently. Hold on, let me see if it's a bad copy on my part. Let me see. Let's try it again. Okay. Yeah, that link is not working whatsoever. That's not working. Let me see if the second one will work. All right, so the second one takes us to Inside Edition. It says Chicago mother and son charged with murder after teen shoots man who hit his mom during argument, says reports. Kalisha Hood, 35, was inside Maxwell Street Express getting food when an argument escalated and 32-year-old Jeremy Brown allegedly started punching Hood, according to reports. Her son pulled out a firearm and shot Brown, reports say. A Chicago mother and her teen son have been arrested and charged for a shooting that occurred on Sunday at a fast food stop that left one man dead. Prosecutors say Kalisha Hood, 35, was inside Maxwell Street Express getting food when an argument broke out between her and 32-year-old Jeremy Brown, the Chicago Sun-Times reported. Hood was allegedly texting her 14-year-old son during the argument, and he came inside, according to WGN9. Brown then escalated the argument and punched Hood in the head several times, the news site said. After Hood was punched, her son pulled out a firearm and shot Brown in the back. WGN9 reported. As Brown attempted to flee, the teen chased him and shot him again, according to the news site. Brown succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced dead. After the teen stopped shooting, Hood allegedly told him to shoot Brown's girlfriend too, since she was laughing and encouraging Brown during the argument, the Sun-Times reported. In a video released by police, Hood can be seen attempting to take the firearm from her son, but he pushed her away, and they both got in the car to leave. The mother and son turned themselves in on Wednesday, according to the Sun-Times. Neither have a criminal history, and Hood had a valid firearm owner's identification card and her permit to carry a concealed weapon, the news site said. Hood was charged with murder and contributing to the delinquency of a minor, and her son was charged with murder, according to WGN 9. There's another link here as well. Let's see if this one works. It's going to take us back to Twitter. Again, not working. Okay, so we're gonna abandon the Twitter attempts, but I guess I guess I can't abandon the Twitter attempts because this is another one for Twitter. Let me see. Apparently, this is breaking news. Yeah, those aren't working. Anyway, you all know the story of what happened here with Kalisha Hood and her son. Carl, what were your thoughts about the incident and then the update that they were cleared of charges and whatnot?
But before that, let me just say this.
Oh, damn, can I speak?
No, it's not. I was talking about Twitter. I think Elon Musk recently did some rate change thing, and so that might be why the Twitter links are not loading up.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I saw some mention of that today, rate limiting or something like that.
I'm just fucking with y'all. It's all good.
Hey, Cool, let me go off the car. Please.
All right.
So let me just say this situation. I didn't think they would be cleared of charges. The reason I say that is because he shot him in the back. And I live in a very pro-gun, stand your ground state. Usually, once the person leaves the scene, if you shoot them in the back, once they're no longer a threat, and you shoot them, then it's considered to be, murder, manslaughter, whatever. So I was surprised that he was, the charges were dropped. However, I do understand that if I was a 14-year-old boy, and I saw someone beating on my mother, I would take whatever steps necessary, and I'm not saying I'm a killer, but I understand his situation. Now, The mother was kind of like, get him for me. I think that's a lot of pressure to put on a child. But this man escalated this to the point where it didn't have to go there. You know, understand, she was upset. The man was upset that the line was taking too long. So the fuck what? Grow up. Sometimes we gotta wait. We gotta be patient. Okay, chill out. Look at your phone. So he escalated to the point where he put his hands on a random woman who he's never seen. This man obviously felt comfortable beating up on women in broad daylight. So I don't really have much sympathy for this man. I'm sorry the little boy, I don't say little, he's 14. I'm sorry this young man, he's still a child though, had to go to the point where he had to kill somebody to defend his. That's a lot of trauma to put on a child. When you have grown men who have PTSD from killing people and they, you know, overseas as soldiers. So I understand this young man may have a lot of therapy, a lot of work. His mother shouldn't have put that on him. But I also understand she was getting her ass beat. She understood this confrontation was going to be, you know, go to a higher level. People can run their mouth. People can talk whatever they want. You don't have the right to put your hands on people. You can say what you want to. But once you put your hands on people, now you're escalating it. So should she have run her mouth? No. But you don't have the right to put your hands on people just because they run their mouth. I'm sorry. That's not how the world works. This is America. Everybody's armed. I'm armed. My dog got a gun. Everybody got a gun. So when you deal with a situation like that, you know, you kind of want to relax and chill out. But yeah, so the fact that charges got dropped, I hope this young man gets the therapy he needs. I hope that the help he gets is important. I'm sorry that he had to do that to defend his mother, but I'm looking at a situation where it didn't have to escalate the way it did. We see that with road rage. People get cut off in traffic. They want to get out the car, start shooting. So it's not a situation where you should go around hitting people just because they say something you don't like. They get mad at you. You don't do that. So, okay, so Trigger Happy saying that she didn't order the son to do that. So the son took the weapon of his own volition, seeing his mother get beat on. Then that's self-defense. I don't really see a problem with that. Nobody else is going to stop this man. People die from getting punched all the time. So I'm glad they're clear. And you know, next time, you know, whatever, if he's born again, learn to control your temper, sir. That's all you got to do.
Thank you for that, Carl. I'm curious to hear what Brother Bakari is going to say. Bakari, you got it.
Okay, look, I had an inkling that you was going to do this today, and I meant to send you this interview in Telegram where they were actually interviewing the people that was inside of the restaurant. First, they say the woman never told the little boy to bring a gun. That's part of the reason. That was not in no text telling her son to come shoot. That's part of the reason that she got off. That was a lie that was spread on YouTube. The guy who was killed, he was known even by his family through Twitter messages and everything that people kept. He was known for beating up women, had just burned down his girlfriend's house in April. And the little boy, the young kid, act on his own. And when they tried to make like the woman was telling the son to follow him and keep shooting him, the lady who was recording also did an interview with the ladies and the dude. They say that's not true either. And when they went to wrestle for the gun and make it seem like that he was wrestling the dude's girlfriend, the mother went to take the gun from him, and that was the tussling. And they say it was just a lot of lies that was spread on YouTube after this incident, and all of the lies were spread to make the black woman look bad, just like what Azuli said. And she this 14-year-old will want a woman like that, but he acted to protect his mother. And I'll still send you that interview so you can look at it. There's a emoji so you can look at it. I meant to put it in Telegram, and then that way you can see. That way you can see what I'm talking. You can see what I'm talking about. You can hear it for yourself when the people who was there talking. And that's like the biggest reason that she got off, mainly all of the eyewitnesses that was there actually coming out now and is going against the stuff that has been spread on YouTube. And on that note, I thank you for letting me speak, and I'm going to listen offline for now.
I appreciate you coming through, Bakari. Thank you for that update. Trigger seems to be saying some of the same things. He said this all happened because he was rushing because she wanted her food to be fixed. He was impatient, and he's also has history of beating other women. He says also people don't think too. Do you think it makes sense that you just shoot a person one time and that's it? What if he wanted to go to the car and get a gun too? Shoot him again. That's the argument I was making with Razuli on the community tab. I share the sentiment that some of you have. I'm glad that they got off, to be honest. A lot of people have the sentiment, well, did this black man deserve to die? Well, if you go in and close fist punching a woman in the head, and she has means to put an end to that, yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna go down. I mean, you shouldn't have been beaten on this woman. But I do have issues. I do have some issues with, at least in the original story, it was said that she told the kid to come in with the gun and this, that, and the other. So, if that was the case, that's what my issues was with it. How about run out of the shop? How about just get out of the shop? Like, there's men who run out of the fucking shop. If that was happening to them, just get out of the way. So those were the little, nitpicks I had about it. But overall, I personally was happy that they beat that. Let me go to let me mix it up. Let me go to Buana next.
No, what I have to say is thank you, Brother Bakari, for the new set of facts of this particular incident, because prior to that, I would have said that the child is a hero on two fronts, but the mother not so much, because I had the mother texting the son prior to the incident even happening, saying, obviously she would have told the child to bring a gun to this particular incident before he even was engaging with her. So the fact that you presented new information for me, I kind of changed my opinion on this particular incident completely. Well, not completely, but I changed my view, even though I still think the child is a hero on two fronts. Any child put in that particular situation with the ability to defend his mother, he was a 14-year-old boy seeing his mommy get pounded on, and he have the ability to do something about it. Absolutely, he would. Absolutely. And he had to make a split-second decision in defending his mother being attacked by this man. So he gets shot. As far as him taking the gun away from his mother, or telling his mommy, well, we ain't gonna shoot no witnesses. We ain't gonna shoot the lady who was acting up, because you want her there too. If he had done that, or if she had done that, she would be put in jail for murder of that lady, because she didn't do anything to, even though she was laughing or she may have said certain things, she didn't actively do anything to put in a position where she feel like her life was being threatened. So for the child to wrestle the gun away from the mom, say, no mommy, don't go there. He saved her ass on that front, because she would have been charged with murder of that lady. As far as the guy goes, past history don't come into it. The fact that he may have been an abusive man or whatever, that's not going to come into this particular incident. What's going to come into this incident is what is actually occurring right now. Now, how I look at it is, there is a thing called de-escalation. I believe in de-escalation. Okay? Does that lady have the ability to leave that situation where she know that train is running in a direction where we're gonna run into a wall in a few seconds? Do I have the ability to de-escalate? Do I have the ability to walk away? I think that at that particular split second, she did have the ability to walk away. She had to stop having an argument with him, go sit in the car for a minute, wait until he was doing what he needed to do, and then go back in the restaurant. Did she need to do that? No, she had the ability to stand her ground. She had a right to be there just like everyone else. But I believe also she could have de-escalated the situation by just leaving. Everything don't need to be a matter of confrontation. There are some Negroes out here who are tripped off of the head, and this situation could have turned and go another way. Because this mom may have had a gun and may had the ability to kill her and her son. So it really could have gone another way. You know what I mean? So I think that if you have the ability to de-escalate, if you have the ability to leave the situation, if that option is there, I think that you should take it. Why you don't get engaged in these big arguments with grown ass childlike men who gonna respond in a very infantile way? Take a second. You don't always have to set him straight and put him in his place. These guys are crazy out here. You know what I mean? So I give kudos to the child in this situation and defending his mother. I think that he have a right to defend her, but I also believe that it was in her power at the time to de-escalate that situation and walk away. Did she need to? No. She deserved to be there just like anyone else in that restaurant. Did she need to be quiet? No, she didn't need to be quiet. She have a voice just like every other person. However, we dealing in the real world. We dealing in the real world where you have crazy Negroes out there, females and males. And there is a such thing as de-escalation. There is such a thing as walking away and just letting the situation simmer for a while. Let this man go about his business. Now her 14-year-old child, although he did the right thing, he have to suffer through a traumatic incident. Killing a person is a very traumatic thing. It's an extremely traumatic thing for grown men. So imagine something for a 14-year-old child. You know what I mean? And I don't want to put all the tasks on the black lady, but I just think that you could take a split second and de-escalate. Don't run on, don't argue. Sometimes you must walk away from stupid ass niggas. It is what it is. Don't engage them. You know what I mean? He in his full infancy, and he lost his life stupidly, because he don't know how to control his own emotions. You know what I mean? There's a such thing as either emotionally reacting or mentally responding. And I think that if she had mentally responded to the situation, things may have turned out differently. Do all people do that? Absolutely not. You know what I mean? Does she deserve the right to be in a restaurant? Absolutely. But I also believe that if she had the ability to de-escalate by saying, you know what, go have your food, man. Let me take a minute. 5 minutes in the car, he would get his food and bounce, and I would have gone in that restaurant and did what I needed to do. You know what I mean? I believe that she has a capacity to do that as well. But because of Brother Bakari presenting new facts in this particular incident, I kind of like have a very different view of what actually happened. And as more information comes in, I think that our perspective on this particular matter is going to change. But I'll just leave it there for now.
Yeah, before Oni come on here simping, let me just say that what Juana is saying is absolutely correct, and I think it's underrated advice. If my mother, right, was in that situation, and I found out, let's say it was just her by herself, and she was in that situation, and I found out she didn't try to retreat, try to get away from this. Men kill things. Men kill shit. You don't stand up there just because you can in the face of an obvious threat. You try to get away from that stuff, and it's not putting it on the woman. It's just you got to be sensible. You got to be you would tell your daughter, yo, if you don't have that thing on you, get up out of there. Get to some safety. You know, read the room. You could tell this guy is on some bullshit. He about to do something wild. Get up out of there. There's nothing wrong with that advice. With that said, only time I say, what say you?
First off, your man's was tether battling. But yeah, no. I wanted to start off with a different story, but I'm gonna call Buana's thing. I'm gonna call bullshit on Buana. According to
you was the king of tether bobbling. You was the king of tether bobbling.
Shit, you the emperor? Anyway, but my thing is this. You go to a restaurant, you order food, okay? The restaurant messes up on your food. So you waiting to get your food corrected. And then somebody's out in the back saying, man, hurry up, blah, 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 blah. Right? You saying that you're going to tell the person, why don't you walk away? The fuck you walking away? I don't mean to curse, but like, what you walking away for? You just ordered food and you waiting for your food. Your son's in the car for the food and you just going to walk away? Now, I could imagine maybe what was running through this woman's mind was that the dude was bluffing. Okay? And I could see how, because the dude started punching on her, we're saying, oh, she was just bluffing. Right? He wasn't bluffing. Right? Oh, he's crazy. But like real life is you ordering your food, somebody messes up on your order, you wait for the correction. You don't walk away because people are complaining. That's not real. We're only saying
you're intentionally fucking up what was said. Obviously, you don't walk away while your food is being fixed. We're talking about when it becomes apparent, and if you know social cues, etc., you know to read the room, it becomes apparent at a point where you have to say, this guy might break bad here. This guy might break bad on me here. You know what? The world is yours, fella. Go ahead and get your food. I'll stand to the side here. And when my food comes up, I'll go get my food.
Nah. Again, because that's the thing too. We're not looking at it from the wide angle thing. It looks like her son is standing behind the dude with a gun. I think you said it. I think you said you saw the dudes backing up because they saw the little boy with the gun.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So the boy is standing behind this kid with a... Sorry, somebody's talking. Okay, so the boy is standing behind this woman with a gun. And the guy is still going to try to punch her in front of him. Yeah, he's going to get lit up. Because it's not like the boy was in the car at that point. You get what I'm saying? The boy is standing right behind this kid. Right behind this woman. Right behind this man. Right? So she's just like, okay, do what you got to do, because I can't even hear the dialogue where it sounds like she's talking about a gun right before the guy starts punching on her, and then he gets lit up.
No,
and so it's like, huh?
She tells, that's what people have claimed, but the conversation is she tells the kid, go back to the car.
Oh, go back to the car. No, because I heard the guy say, oh, somebody has a gun or something like that.
No, the guy said something like, who? Me go back to the car?
Oh, okay. I thought you said something with a gun. But anyway, yeah, I mean, look, I don't think she thought the guy was gonna hit her, obviously, in front of a bunch of people. But at the same time, it's like she was in the right. The dude was the one who was in the wrong. You know? And you might say, hey, well, look, it ended up with her being punched. Well, it ended up with the guy getting killed. So all's well that ends well. That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna say he came in for a burger and he left with wings. That's it. You know, maybe not even wings. Maybe we left with a tail or some shit, right? But anyway, what I wanted to talk about though was so some of y'all ain't heard about Amos Wilson until like 5 years ago. I heard about him like 15 years ago. Okay, and so y'all heard of him as a psychologist. I heard of him as a psychiatrist. Okay, when I first heard about him, he was telling me that a lot of because he was a psychiatrist, right? And so he would talk to black juveniles in prisons. I don't know if this recording exists in the YouTube sphere because I don't really listen to Amos Wilson lectures, but I remember him saying, "Hey, look, you know, a lot of the prisoners that he interviewed, a lot of the young black boys were in prison because they were defending their mothers, whether from the mother's boyfriends or whatever. They were defending their mothers. I'm kind of gonna mirror Carl and saying that I didn't expect them to go free. Okay, I didn't expect them to go free because allegedly the boy chases down the man and kills him. I get the whole double tap concept, but you should double tap there and then. A retreating person, realistically, you're not supposed to chase them down and kill them. If they are no longer a threat, you're not supposed to chase them down and kill them. Granted, we might say, hey, logically you should, but realistically, you shouldn't. But now this is where the other example comes in, because I was, for instance, I'll say this: I was at a post office, right? And this brother, big brother, right? Maybe like I want to say 250 pounds, maybe, right? Maybe just 6'2" or whatever, right? He wants to go to one of the the windows for the clerk or whatever, and there's an Indian woman behind her. The Indian woman is like I don't know, 4 foot, maybe 5'2" or some shit, right? She's small, tiny, small frame, maybe like 100 pounds, right? Wet. The brother, he goes to the counter and he does not like he has to fill out his paperwork right in front of the counter, right? So the lady is just whining and complaining because he's taking up a lot of time. She's like, you should do this, you should go somewhere else, you should go somewhere else, right? That's okay. Complaining about it. Now, if she started to hit on this dude, which would be stupid because he's huge, right? But if she started hitting on the dude, that's where people will be like, yo, something wrong with that lady. Now, we already think there's something wrong with the lady for complaining about the other guy because it's like, yeah, he's doing the wrong thing, but nobody really gives a shit, right? Like, it's the post office. Nobody's that quick anyway, right? But, complaining and then start physically attacking somebody, that's the dude is the problem there. And again, we all know that dudes are problems. That's fine. What happens is this, like I said, all's well that ends well. The dude did get a couple of punches off on the lady. Good for him. Now he's dead. Now obviously it could have went another way. If the son wasn't there, it could have went another way. But the son was there, problem solved. This dude was a serial abuser. He was actually beating up on his girlfriend that was there already, right? He was a piece of shit, piece of trash, and he got what he deserved.
Oni is talking from the perspective of a black man from Brooklyn. You know what I mean? Cork strong gorilla, black man from Brooklyn. And he putting himself in that scenario. And he's not,
very strong.
I don't particularly think that he is weighing that this lady is maybe 5'6", 130 pounds, and this gorilla who's in front of her, threatening her and saying all kind of things. There's such thing called de-escalation. Oni don't have to do that because Oni could probably go toe to toe with this dude. He maybe if they didn't have any guns, anything like that. So he putting himself in that scenario and say, shit, I ain't backing out from shit. But this sister, she is outweighed by this dude, probably 50 pounds. Sometimes you just gotta charge it to the game and let these gorillas do what gorillas do. Stand to the side, let him do his little monkey shines, and then after he leaves, do the things which you need to do as a female person with your young 14-year-old son in your car. You need to use your brain and de-escalate that shit if you can, as a female, not as a big cock strong Brooklyn gorilla from
But that's the thing, my guy. It's like that's the thing going on. Look, I don't think she was even. I mean, I don't know to what extent she was escalating per se, as much as she was like just picking up her food. Maybe she did get into. I don't even know what the escalation, what the escalation she was doing per se. Like you saying she's talking back. Like obviously there was something wrong with the dude. We don't want you. All right, let's say a black knight. She probably wanted a black knight to stand in for her, right? Unfortunately, no black knight came in for her, except for her son, and that's really the thing. But we have to come back to there's no 14-year-olds that's going to be able to take on. There's no 14-year-olds unless she's like raising Mike Tyson, right? Very few 14-year-olds are going to take on that man, right? She probably wanted somebody to say, "Hey, look, back up this guy because she's in the right." Like she's in the right. You're just saying, hey, look, this black woman should just cower in fear when she's around certain black men. And that's fine. You could say that. But that's the problem. That's a problem with our community where it's like, hey, look, we just want to cower to a bunch of no goods. Instead of saying, you know what, yeah, there's a lot of dangerous black men, but there should be some dangerous black men on the sides of these black women.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Let me make it quick.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll go after you.
That wasn't the case in this particular instance. There was no one there to come and her rescue. And sometimes,
her son was there.
Oh, he's 14-year-old, bro. You know what I mean?
14-year-olds can shoot. This ain't what 14-year-olds can shoot.
No. It was in that particular instance that he was armed with something that equaled the playing field. But in all reality, the women don't want to say what the truth is. This lady could have shut the hell up. Now that sound bad. That sound bad to some people, but it would have de-escalated the situation and not cause her son to be in a very traumatic situation. Because some black women, not all, and I ain't trying to get no gender war, they believe that this is the free world, and in the so-called free world, in the white man's world, I could say anything I want to say. Ain't no niggas gonna tell me nothing. Hey man, you in a very vulnerable situation where you outweighed. You are around a gorilla who could do anything to you. You don't have no backup around. You don't have no husband, no one who could defend you and fight you toe to toe. Shut the hell up and let the situation pass. De-escalate that shit.
I'll tell you this, matter of fact.
Let me finish. If you look, I quick, 5 seconds. If every black woman want to go toe to toe with these gorillas in these situations, I promise you, it may not turn out like this. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, you do not negotiate with terrorists. This woman was doing nothing wrong. This man, not only did he escalate it, then he had the nerve to put his hands on her. So it's kind of mind-boggling that we're saying this woman should de-escalate. Who's to say if she walks away, this dude won't follow her? This man is already showing he's unhinged. I've never gone to a restaurant and somebody taking too long in the line. I'm getting mad and yelling at them. I take up my phone. I look at Facebook. I look at Twitter. I read my emails, whatever. I'm not going to the person and yelling at them because I'm not a bully. And that's basically what it boils down to, is that this man was a bully. He apparently he didn't have a problem putting his hands on women. And she could have escalated, but that's not her responsibility. She's sitting here minding her business. This man is angry with her, and you're talking about she's provoking him. This man is obviously unhinged. She doesn't have to do anything to provoke him. Him standing in line too long was provoking him. So we got to be real clear. And we make fun of Dr. Umar sometimes. There's one speech he said about some of these dudes got to go away for good. Some of these niggas got to go away permanently.
For good!
For good! They got to go away, because that is not the response of a person who is mentally well. Sitting in line too long, you got to get loud, and this woman talks back to you, you're going to put your hands on her? That is not the reaction of a person who knows how to behave himself in society. Okay? So this whole thing about he could have yeah, she could have, but she's not a psychotherapist. She's not, a hostage negotiator. She shouldn't have to do that. She should be able to sit in line, wait for her food. This man is a grown adult. He should sit down, be patient, and wait for his food to get ready. And that's it. Now, the fact that he wants to escalate it, he wants to put his hands on people, okay? Then you get what you get. Keep your hands to yourself, all right? That's all I'm going to say. I don't think it's right to blame this woman for not anything. She's the victim. She was the one who was assaulted first. Him waiting in line didn't hurt her.
Let me say this. So I don't know. Oh, sorry.
Hold on. Let me say something, because this is one of the things I don't like. I don't like when the narrative has this drift and it drifts over into something else. I don't think anyone is saying that it's the woman's fault. And there's another thing I don't like in the conscious community too. When conversations are happening, it's always this one way or no way type of thing. No, sometimes two things can be true. Me personally, I'm not blaming the black woman at all. Like I said, I'm happy that they kind of beat those charges. I'm not saying it's the black woman's fault. Obviously, the guy is way out of pocket, as they say, right? But see, I think about these things from the perspective of my children. If my daughter was in that situation and she ended up dead because she didn't try to just get the fuck out the way, I'm going to be tight about that too. I'm going to feel a ways about that too. Because you could talk all you want about having a right to stand your ground, all this kind of stuff. If you had the opportunity to get out of there unharmed, you got to be entertaining and trying to execute that possibility. That doesn't mean that the woman is wrong. I wish you guys would stop doing that shit too, because I know y'all are shifting the conversation and making it out to be that there's folks up here who are just anti-black women. Cut the shit out. That's not what was being said. Only you could say your part, and then we'll move on to the next topic.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not so much that, it's more like, look, me personally, we all know. Again, it's also situational. Let's say it this way. We all know cross the street when crazy's around. Okay? The thing with this situation is that she's waiting for her food. She doesn't really have, like, the guy kind of cornered her. The guy is agitated at her while she's waiting for her food. There's not much de-escalation she can do because she's literally just ordering her food. So I agree. You know, like I understand the concept of shut up, lady, stop talking to the guy. I'm pretty sure the lady wasn't even talking to the guy initially. But the guy walks up on her, right? What like there's so, the thing is this, that we can say, like you could tell her, hey, shut up, don't say anything, while this guy's walking up on her. We don't know the earlier conversation, but I'm pretty sure, especially since we know this lady's background, she's an activist. She just wished everybody happy Father's Day on that day. Apparently this was the guy attacked her on Father's Day, right? We don't know what, like, we don't actually know if she really contributed to escalating this thing or this guy, but we do know this guy is unhinged, and we do know this guy has a history of violence. She's a community activist. She's a successful businesswoman. Her son was an honors student. That kind of stuff. She's a model woman, right? We are saying, hey, look, she's escalated. She's trying to agitate this guy. There's no evidence of that. All we see is the tail end of a video where she's either telling her son, get back into the car, ain't nothing to see here, or she's probably telling the guy, hey, look, I'm just ordering my food, or something like that, right? The guy is out of pocket. That's it. And so the point that I wanted to talk, or the 2 points I wanted to talk about. One point was this. One time I was somewhere where my mother was technically, it kind of quote unquote being attacked. You know, I was in her house on a different floor, heard a noise. Me and my brother ran in, and we saw, like, you know, her then husband, like kind of like, you know, like maybe like possibly there was some violence going on or something, right? Not like serious, whatever, but like we quickly restrained the guy. And it's like, there is no, like, the idea that the boy is going to be traumatized, right? Or the idea that the boy is going to feel bad about stopping somebody who attacked his mother, that's not real. Anybody who's defended their mother or defended a woman, it never feels bad about that. The boy is a freaking hero. And taking a life of a scumbag is a good damn thing. You're supposed to take at least 2. That's why I took you on Earth for. You know what I'm saying? I think the boy, so I don't know where this trauma story is. I don't know where this boy is a victim thing. The boy's a damn hero. Okay, the boy's a hero. And I think and I mean, obviously, you know, like, again, I agree. Cross the street when crazy comes. but I don't know what somebody's supposed to do if they're waiting for food and then somebody behind them steps up to them and tries to get at them. Because it's like you're waiting for damn food. You went to a restaurant for food, not to pick fights, not to whatever, not to leave your food alone, right? So it's like, yeah, of course, I get the oh, lady, just don't say anything. We don't know if she was actually saying anything. We don't know if she was one of those black women who wanna get up, in other people's faces. And of course, we know black women who want to get up in guys' faces. Like I said, my mother probably wanted to like doing that herself, right? I didn't like that about it, but it is what it is. Regardless, as men, we still have to say to ourselves, hey, look, we are men, right? One, we don't hit women, but two, if a man is stepping to a woman, we got to step to them. Now, obviously, we don't want women to bring us into violent situations, but at the end of the day, we as men have to, we're the freaking fence, regardless. You do want women to say, you know what, we're going to try to be more safe. But in this circumstance, I don't know what people like. It's not like she could walk away and go to her car. It doesn't make sense. She's waiting for food. That's it.
Yeah, that's not it for me. That's nonsense. If you're my daughter, you try to get up out of that situation. That guy is going to be wrong from the beginning to the end. Because if you end up standing up, then he kill you with a punch or something. Then everyone will be saying, maybe she should have tried to run up out of there or something. Or like Buana is kind of intimating, talk the guy down and say, my bad, soldier. Go ahead. You go ahead, bro. My bad. You win the day.
Oni, do you see how she is engaging him?
No, but look in the video. No, look at the. Actually, go back to that video. Look how the guy is handing the food right there. So the guy is handing her food right there.
No, I hear what you're saying, Oni.
No, look. Like literally, look in the background right here. Look at this guy right here. You see that?
Yeah. Yes, I see that. And you know what? And it's at that point. She should have stopped. It seems like they are engaging in a back and forth, right? And I think that it's too much back and forth going on. Once you say, this is your word. You say when you see crazy, you go in the opposite direction, right? Now, crazy ain't always apparent, right? Now, this man, he seems, now we in a hot dog place now. And this guy, over some hot dogs, he seemed like he about to take it to 99 miles an hour, right? Over some fucking hot dogs.
Exactly.
So I'm saying it's at that particular point, I gotta stop and say, hey, let me don't engage this man no more. Because he is beyond reason. There are some men who are beyond reason, brother. And that's what I'm trying to get you to see. Some brothers beyond reason.
Of course, but again, she gotta grab the food.
I understand
right there.
that.
So the
engage
restaurant
him
is like, hey, 2 minutes. She's probably like, hey, dude, I'll be out of your way in 2 minutes.
Yeah, but don't engage him, brother.
She got the food. Get the fuck up out of there. You have nothing else to say to the guy. All right, so
she didn't get the food. The guy just was handing it to her just now.
And when she got it right then, she's supposed to head out.
Yeah, because she seemed to be so much in dialogue with the man. She didn't see when the man was offering the food. And I'm saying that when you say when crazy becomes apparent, the conversation ends, brother, because you don't know where that situation can go. And like you say, you talking from the perspective of a Brooklyn dude, you know what I mean? And a Brooklyn dude go toe to toe with another gorilla. This lady she's a female person. She's outmatched. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to phone them. You know what I mean? You got to know when to walk away. You know what I mean? You got to know when to walk away. And I feel like at a certain point, in some instances, because like I say, this situation could have went another way. Easily went another way.
But it went the right way.
This time, but how many women in these situations?
Yeah, but we talking about this incident.
No problem.
Right?
I'm saying in this incident, this guy died, a terrible guy who's removed from the planet. But I feel like another teachable moment within this thing, because we're talking back and forth about this situation, is there is a place for de-escalation and walking away from crazy, as you suggested earlier.
Yeah, but not when your food is like when you 1 minute away from food. That's not like you walk away from crazy when it's like you don't have to be there. She's literally getting food for her son.
Yeah.
Only hot dogs worth it though. Hot dogs worth it, brother. Hot dogs.
Hot dogs?
Yeah, that's where it was at a hot dog restaurant. Is hot dogs really worth it? Getting into some altercation with some gorilla?
I don't think
Ask
she
him
picked
that.
the fight, my guy.
Maybe we should ask him that.
Exactly. She didn't pick the fight, my guy.
To ask him that, he got to
She
talk a
didn't
little
pick
bit
it.
louder.
She won it though.
So
You know what I'm saying?
Take a lesson
He
from this.
5-4.
Maybe the lesson should be
Fuck around and find out.
for maybe abusive people to keep their hands to themselves, because you never know who's packing. That's the lesson I'm taking from this.
The lesson is don't hit no woman. Don't hit no woman in front of her kids.
Y'all are perfect world talking right now. Y'all are perfect world talking because, like I say, she in this instance, the 4-year-old, the rabbit had the gun, but usually the rabbit don't have the gun. And this could, in many instances, like in this situation where it was a woman against a man in this scenario, she may or not have, she wouldn't have come on top. But like you say, only say stick to this particular situation. I'm just saying that there are many others where women gonna feel like I can say anything I want to say. Okay, brothers. Okay, I'll leave it.
Yeah, let's leave that one there because let's leave that one there. Again, now Buana at the end there seemed like he's a little different than what I'm saying. I'm saying that two things can be true. The guy is a piece of shit. I'm not too upset about what happened to him. But at the same time, ma'am, if you're my daughter or my sister or something, I'll tell you, man, try to get out of that. When that man handed you your food, grab that, say good night, and head out. Now, the guy pursued you. That's a different story after that. That's just my take. But let's move on for time's sake. We Shoot the Breeze topic number 5. Shoot the Breeze topic number 5 says, what kind of right-minded individual would do such a thing? What is such a thing?
King Randall is a young community through his school called the X for Boys Life Preparatory School. Randall's school is a boarding school that takes in our youth from off the streets, out of broken homes, as well as our youth who are dealing with behavioral and academic issues, bringing them out of hostile environments and placing them into a safe environment in which he then teaches and instills in them the structure, the discipline, and the skills needed to transition these young boys into productive young men in society. Now, let me take a quick moment to go over the impact that King Randall is having on his community in Albany. 86% improvement in reading comprehension among students, 91% improvement in school grades among students, 82% of students are proficient in general contracting, 93% of students are proficient in basic automotive repair, and 0.01%, 99.9% of students in our program are less likely to be repeat offenders. So as you can see, King Randall is doing a tremendous work in his community, and his school has grown and flourished tremendously over the past 2 years. But that growth has not been without its hurdles. He encountered numerous hurdles in simply acquiring the property 2 years ago, but since opening the school, the hurdles in his way have simply gotten ridiculous and downright sad at this point. So now, let's go over a few tweets highlighting these hurdles. On October 20th of 2022, King Randall wrote, "People continue to call the authorities on our school as if we're criminals. They came to, quote, inspect our office. We weren't present. 20 minutes later, we see someone coming under our gate." On March 27th of 2023, King Randall wrote, "The first night our boarding school opened, we had an intruder break in through a window. My brother and I met him with a firearm within 30 seconds, and he ran off. Our students remained sound asleep, and there was no further disturbance." He would further go on to write, "I get asked why my staff and I carry weapons on campus. All of our students have training with firearms, and our staff are required to have regular training with firearms. School with no true security are doomed. We just had a kid drop his gun at a school where I live. I can name a few schools in my hometown right now that I can just walk into and be met by no one. That's how lazy it is today when it comes to security. But now, the most recent event, most disturbing event, and most upsetting event occurred last Sunday when people came to King Randall's school and completely destroyed it. On June 26, King Randall wrote, "Last Sunday, I came to check on our school and everything was fine. We came to play basketball with our summer program students on Wednesday and saw a window was broken into. I entered the building and heard noises. I'm seeing almost everything deliberately destroyed. I held the intruders at gunpoint until the police arrived. Sinks were pulled out of the walls, toilets smashed, glass busted everywhere, uniforms and merchandise destroyed. A few things were stolen, but it was personal. They took a picture of me and threw it in the alley. Destroyed our main school logo on the wall, ripped doors off the hinges, etc., etc. I can go on. Some of the things that were taken, those 3 people I caught couldn't get a loan. I just know this was coordinated. My students were in complete shock as they had to watch me hold someone at gunpoint. We took so much time working on this building. So many volunteers came from across the country, but we still smile and we praise God on Sunday in spite of it all. I honestly didn't want to talk about this. I truly didn't. I wanted to keep moving, but my team has insisted that I let the public know what has happened. Thankfully, we're still able to operate out of our office building and no one was hurt in the process. This is horrible. This is completely horrible. And this was clearly coordinated. Clearly, in my opinion at least, this was a coordinated effort to send some sort of a message to King Randall because the damage that was done was so extreme and excessive that we can clearly see the purpose was to create financial hardship for King Randall. It's one thing for there to be kind of general basic vandalism. Maybe someone spray painted something stupid on the side of the building. Maybe someone threw a rock through the window and ran off. Maybe someone actually broke in and stole a few valuable items, or at least items they perceive to be valuable. Though these things are wrong, we can still draw a logical conclusion as to what possibly happened and why it would happen, right? And in most cases, with the general vandalism and petty theft, you just chalk it up to people being stupid. And it is what it is, and you move on. But having your toilet smashed, the sinks ripped out the wall, doors ripped off the hinges, children's uniforms and merchandise destroyed, the logo ripped off the wall, and his photo thrown in the alley. This is deliberate structural damage that was done for the purpose of creating financial hardship as well as terror. This wasn't just a typical vandalizing incident. Some of you may know what it's like to have your home broken into while you were away. And when you come into your home after it's been broken into, you'll see a couple things tossed around. You'll see some drawers tossed out of the dresser with clothes lying around because clearly the person who broke into your home were looking for valuables and they were looking quickly. Once again, you can rationalize why there's clothes tossed around and books removed off of your bookshelf and onto the floor and so on and so forth. But if you were to walk into your home and saw the toilet was smashed, the sink ripped off the wall, your door ripped off the hinges, mirrors broken, and your photos thrown out into the alley, that's personal. That's something very deliberate. That's someone who is sending a message to you. That is beyond just typical burglary, just like this is beyond typical vandalizing. This is extremely unfortunate and very upsetting to see when you have a young man like King Randall who is doing the great work that he's doing in his community be attacked in this way? Because that's
All right, I think I was asked to only play like 5 minutes of that, but I wasn't aware of this happening, and so that was kind of interesting to me. I wish I could have watched all of it in the one sitting, but yeah, should be topic number 5. What kind of right-minded individual would do such a thing? Carl, did you know about this story?
I'm not familiar with the story. I'm not surprised. I'm not familiar with King Randall. It looks like he was trying to do a good thing. You know, like he got mostly got an all boys school, doing something positive. You know, Black schools have been attacked, have been destroyed since Reconstruction. You know, when it was illegal for Black people to know how to read, and they was destroy our schools, burn them down. This is a tragedy. But do they know? He said he held them at gunpoint, so I guess they got whoever did it. Yeah, it's just a shame. I know that it seems like I've looked him up on Twitter, so it looks like he's receiving a lot of donations, a lot of help to rebuild the school. But it's not something that should strike us as anything out the norm. Nobody's in there. There's no right-minded individual who's doing this. It's somebody who hates Black people. It's somebody who wants to make life hard and traumatize Black children by destroying their school, a place where they should feel safe. So, yeah, this is not a right-minded individual who's doing this. We shouldn't be surprised at these attacks. It sounds like he has security and he's well armed, and I think that's good. But yeah, it's not. It's a tragedy. It's a shame that this happened. We just kind of see these patterns where we're not safe here. I think we need to understand that this is not a safe place for us. America is not a place where Black people were meant to thrive and survive. And the fact that we do thrive and we do survive is a testament to our strength and our resilience as a people. We're not meant to be here to do well, teach our children, anything like that. We just meant to be slaves. That's what we were brought here to do, to work. So I'm sorry this happened to this man. Oh, it was Black people who did it. Oh, I'll be damned. Well, you know what? There's always gonna be some self-hating Negroes out here. There's always gonna be some Black people who hate themselves and who hate other Black people. So yeah, I'm not surprised by that either. And who's to say that these Black people weren't paid by these crackers to do this? Who's to say they're not working behind the scenes? Who knows? Anyways, but yeah, it's a shame. I hope he rebuilds quickly. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
In the chat, Brother Bakari. By the way, Bakari earlier said he was going to continue that conversation about the 14-year-old and his mom and that incident in Chicago. So after we go off at 11, I don't know what time he's going to start, but he said he's going to continue that conversation. You guys could tune in. Brother Bakari in the chat says, I spoke with King Randall yesterday, and it was Black people that did vandalize the school. Right? KW Dawn 7 said those Negroes were sent by someone else. Right? KW Dawn 7 says King Randall will have to invest in 24/7 security going forward. Bakari said that King Randall said he gets more pushback from Black people since the school was open. He don't think other people are sending them. Ms. Vila said, wow, horrible. Yeah, so those are some of the comments going on. Apparently, I guess KW Dawn 7 says Yvette Carnell and Mink Slide, Tariq Nasheed, were critical of King Randall for his do-for-self attitude. They want Urugu to give them a handout. They want to be perpetual slaves. Our boy D Webb is here. Hodge Ready Podcast. He says, was other Black people who attacked might have been sent, but hell could have been Yvette's people. Who knows? So those are some of the comments in the chat. With that said, let me go to Oni next. Oni, what's the
Yeah, so I heard about this. I think your voice just messed up, but I heard about this in the sense of I mean, I heard about this. What I'll say is this. One, apparently this brother felt like he felt sorry for the 47-year-old. So there was actually I wouldn't say a black woman. Y'all saw her legs. She probably mixed or some shit. But anyway, there was this one woman. There was a woman there, obviously, but there was two black men. It looked like I think I saw both of them. One of them was like 40-something years old, recently went through a divorce type shit, and he's there telling his little sob story while he done fucked up the whole place for what nobody understands. Some people are saying this might be personal because of the way how the damage was. It might be one of them boys, one of the boys didn't get inside the school, and so he decided to send his peeps to some shit. I don't know. But that like that's the cost of business, and that's the cost of business in America. But that's the cost of business everywhere. I open up a restaurant in Africa. I should expect that somebody's gonna do shit to it. The business model here, unfortunately, because some people are critical of his business model, i.e., a lot of donations, partly because obviously he's not rich. So he's going to need donations, and that could like sabotage your shit. But like at the end of the day, the dude's doing a really good thing. And he's doing a really good thing, without having resources, which is, something that many people can't say or can't do, but yeah, like it was pointed out, people, it looks like the thing I wanted to put out was that's something that we have to, the fact that black people can be quote unquote sent to mess up your shit, even if they have nothing to do with your shit, right? That should be a friendly reminder for us when we say, who sold us into slavery? I'm not going to say black people sold us into slavery, that type shit. But what I mean is that sometimes I go into because the people who are critical of this guy, or they're critical of him for two reasons. One, because he's due for self. Two, because he seems like a black conservative. So a lot of black liberals do not like black conservatives. A successful black conservative is not a good look for black liberals, right? That said, because of that, we have to recognize that. So sometimes I went to one of the ADOS spaces, and they were like, those Africans owe us so much because they sold us. And I'm just like, look, why are you saying they sold you instead of like, let's say, like some of the onus is on you too, because you were probably a part of a people group who sold another people group. The people who were brought to the Americas, a lot of them had blood on their hands. It's not just the people who remain in Africa. A lot of people who come here. And the thing is this: even when we were here in America, we were still selling each other. So David Walker would tell you about. You read David Walker's appeal, he'll tell you that some black people who escaped to the north, they were being told on by people in the north. Oh yeah, this person's an escaped slave, and they were sent back and captured. So this whole thing, and then of course, when somebody says, somebody might have sent them to mess things up, you're reminded about the civil rights movement, where a lot of black folk were paid to sabotage Martin Luther King Jr.'s peaceful protest. They paid like kids and shit to like make a fuss and make a noise and make a rumble. Probably the descendants of the guy from the last, probably the ancestors of the guy from the last prompt. My point being, right? We have to, when we're pushing the blame on white folk, and I'm not saying white folk are exonerated. Obviously, I have a suspicion that white folk are somewhere in this thing. But regardless, what I'm gonna say is this: the fact that black folk can be so easily turned against black folk is an underspoken conversation. That's what I'm gonna say.
All right, thank you for that, Oni. Juana, you've heard everything that everyone else said. What say you?
Well, for me, I have some personal first-hand experience with it, and I'll go into why I say that. My pops is an educator, in his lifetime, and he had his own little private school, a couple of hundred kids, from 0 to grade 12, and they operated for probably about 12 years before the major hurricane here. Before the major hurricane here ruined his business completely. But needless to say, within that time, his school was broken into, and when they broke into the office, they stole computers, and ruined the rules, doing all manner of different things. Because I hear the argument where it must be white folks behind this, and I question that because many black folks have a battery in their back. They don't want to see something that is progressive when it comes to black folks and even young people. Because I personally think it was young people who actually broke into school and did the shit that they did, as it happened here as well. Now, the question becomes, why would they do that? Because I always had that question in my mind. You see a school that is actually helping you and educating you, why would you destroy something like that? Well, it's the same thing when you see buildings get built and young people go behind the building and start writing their names on the wall, start destroying the property, destroying the value of the building itself by defacing it, spray painting it, doing whatever. You have to ask, so why would you do that? It's a nice building. Why would you do that? I mean, it could be a grocery shop. It could be anything within the community where your community benefits from that building being there, from that business being there. But you have to study really the mind of the Negro person and what he has been taught. And without the assistance sometimes of this white person telling him, giving him instructions to do things, he'll do things without being instructed. He'll do things that is destructive to himself without being instructed. Marcus Garvey said the biggest fight he had wasn't the Jews, wasn't the white community. It was his internal community. That's what brought down his business in the UNIA. The Negroes within the UNIA brought down his business. There is something that exists within us where we fight against black progress. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's black progress or something that's progressive. But there's a battery that exists within our backs that we fight and rail against that, even actively. You see the people arrested on this particular thing, they were young people, young black folks doing that. Because I always had the question, why would you destroy something that it seemed to be that's progressive for your community? And why would you do something like that? We have this battery in our back without being instructed. And it really been existing there maybe for 400 years. Who knows? Who knows? And we have to disabuse ourselves from that battery. Because if there was a liquor store, you don't see a lot of liquor stores, toilets being ripped out of a lot of liquor stores within our community. I don't see the Chinese having to say, well, man, I can't keep my business up because they keep on destroying my business when I try and open up my Chinese shop and cook my stir-fried rice. I don't see that. But you put a school, something that is going to be something that's beneficial for the community itself, and this is what you get at the end of it. Not saying that's always the case. And regardless of my man's political affiliation, this should have not have happened. This should have not have happened. What kind of right-thinking minded individual would do such a thing? No right-minded individual. No right-minded individual. You know what I mean? Something that exists within us that really don't want to see us progress or be progressive. And I think that we have to disabuse ourselves with that thing that is fight against us trying to be competitive, progressive, and productive within any society, not just the so-called oppressive white America or the Western world. Because if we was existing in our own space, would these kinds of things happen? Of course they would, because it happens in Africa as well. Happens in Africa as well, without no intervention of any white influence. The fact that it's been there for such a long time, we could be with ourselves and these things still happen because we have that battery within our back. You have to, Bob Marley said, you have to get rid of the mental slavery that exists within us. And I think that this is something that we have to work on, man. Vociferous, we have to work on that diligently, because these kinds of things shouldn't happen in the 21st century. No way, no way. Especially my young people understanding the shortfalls that exist within our communities. No way these kinds of things should happen. But I had a first-hand experience with it, man. And I think that it's unfortunate. And I think that these people who would have done these things should be locked up forever. But I don't personally think they've been instructed by no white person, because I see niggas do it. I see niggas do it in my community. So I don't think that they've been sent. Maybe they've been sent by the adult black people to do it. Maybe. But I don't personally think no white person instructed them to do it. I think the white man that exists within them causing them to do it. But I don't want to rant. I'll just stop there.
Seems like Bakari has a pretty decent relationship. I wish Bakari would have come up and spoken about it some from what he heard in this conversation. But does anyone have any further thoughts on that prompt? All right. We're gonna only a little bit late on that one. So what we'll do is we'll do a quick hitter with the remaining time that we have. Let's see if we could fit this one in. This is Shooter Breeze topic number 6 tonight. Shooter Breeze topic number 6 says, what is the repercussions for black people who send black people on a crash test mission for their lives? That's a very interestingly worded prompt. I hope it's not the same topic. I don't think so. Let's see.
A student graduating, it is her day. She's seen grabbing the microphone. Very little context is provided until she provides it directly.
Okay, let's go. You didn't let me get my moment, so I want to say my name is Cassidra Cheek, and I'm graduating today. Oh my God, you snatched the mic out of my hand, so today is going to be all about me.
Oh, drops the mic. Congratulations!
There is a backstory, an important backstory to provide significant context to what you just saw. Glad she provided the context personally. Here it is.
So, here's my story time. Basically, what happened was I was walking on and we had to announce our names and say our name before we get on the stage. So, I was saying my name and she literally, my name is long. My name, obviously, I have like 3 syllables in my name. I'm not going to say exactly my name right now, but okay, just so you get a point. So I didn't even finish getting to say my name. And then the people that went before me and everything, they all got to say their name, their major, and even extras. And me and another girl noticed that she was pulling the mic down super fast for some black people. I don't want to be that person, but that was the tea. So, I mean, I just couldn't let that happen because I just feel like I worked so hard to graduate and went through so much to graduate that I just felt like I had to reclaim my moment. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not a problematic person. I don't want to ruin no one's day. I don't want to violate anybody, but that's what she did. She didn't even let me finish speaking. She put the mic down, cut me off, and that was the only time I was able to speak. So I just feel like that wasn't right.
Sometimes your love for self and your dignity will cause you to break decorum. I understand what she's saying. I get it. Some people may not. First of all, graduation for Black families is a holiday to us. It is serious to us. It is serious to the student. Our names are culturally connected to our identity. There's a story behind our names. There's a history behind our names. When someone snatches the mic from you or they do not allow you to say your name, understand the name, your name, my name, is the first gift our parents give us. It's the first gift our parents give us. And having something like that disrupted during such a special and iconic moment, I understand the response. I understand her reaction. I ain't mad at all. Better let these babies talk, celebrate, and get their diploma and move on with life. All right, Jeff, thoughts?
So I wonder what the administration was afraid that women like her or Black people in general were going to say once they got the mic. That woman, I was hoping she would say her name, and hopefully we'll get it later so others can celebrate her, because there's a lot of Black families in this country, even still today, to where they are the first individuals in that family to get a college degree. I'm glad she got her moment, but it sucks that she had to take it because someone was trying to keep it from her. I'm not even mad.
Yeah, and we have to be more sensitive as a culture, a community inside of America. The reality is that was her moment, and if somebody tried to take it, she took it back.
All right, we have about 15 minutes left, so we will keep the commentary brief to fit in that time. Let's start with Carl. Carl, what say you to what you saw?
Well, what can I say about this? I kind of understand, dealing with the racist administration in school, and you want to, speak your piece, and I kind of understand where she's coming from. I don't know. I condone it. I don't condone it, but I understand. How about that? I don't condone it, but I do understand. I don't understand the question about the crash test dummy for their lies. I don't know who was lying or who wasn't telling the truth or not. Apparently, it looks like they were telling the truth. She wasn't letting the Black students speak. Young people can be impulsive sometimes. They don't think things through. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't condone it, but I understand why she did it. If I was her age, I was 18. Who's to say I wouldn't have done the same thing? So I'll leave it there.
Appreciate it, Carl. D Web says school so racist, but they got that tuition. Let's have from Oni next. Keep in mind the time. Keep it brief.
Yeah, I don't understand the prompt either. What's the repercussions for? What is the repercussion for Black people who send Black people on this crash test mission for their lies? What does that even mean? Either way, what? Maybe I meant lives. I don't know. Either way, I mean, obviously, like, I don't want to be the guy to say that you shouldn't have done that, but like, what are you doing? Like the graduation thing, like anytime you see that guy, just know he's wrong. Like, it's just this extreme victim mentality. Like, oh, we noticed that she wasn't. Like, I noticed that I have this African-American coworker, and she just feels like everybody's picking on her. And I guess her only excuse why I'm not, being picked on is that because I'm not really African-American, I'm a Jamaican, and therefore, blah, blah, blah. But like, none of these white people even know that like I'm even Black, as far as I can tell, because it's an online thing, right? But they might know from the voice, but they don't know. You know what I mean? Like they're not like, oh, he's a Jamaican. But regardless, it's like, yeah, like you feel like she was taking away the mic from different African Americans. Probably not the case, or even if it were the case, it's like, who cares? You just talk about it after, like, oh, what a weirdo, and that's it. Because it's like it's kind of like, yeah. I wouldn't. I mean, I don't like, because the thing is this. First off, that hurts your, like, you having a scandalous video like this hurts you professionally. You know what I mean? Not just around white people, but around Black people too, because you just don't exhibit self-control. Kind of like I said, the last video or the other video where it's like the guy just doesn't exhibit self-control. These are just not good characteristics to have as a person. Practice self-control practice self-discipline. You know, you feel like somebody did you wrong, but it's not really that big a deal because it's just a stupid graduation. Like I personally didn't even want. Like I remember at my high school, I think I won. I was probably one of the most awarded black kids. Right? I didn't even go to the graduation because I was like, who the fuck cares? You know, you just get your, sit down and just slice a pizza, be quiet. Get your damn diploma, go. You know, like that's what you're there for. You're there for jobs. That's it. I'm gonna say that.
Yeah, that was my thought about it too. You stand the risk of even your own people might look at you as just being difficult. That's what I was thinking about. It's on, it's gone viral now. Your name is called in it, because she says her name. It's that's the one thing I didn't like about it. I appreciated her speaking up for herself, etc. But that was the one thing that came to mind. Buana, you've heard everything everyone else said. What say you?
No, I respect what the sister did. Sometimes you have to put these Karens in their place, whether they in academia. First of all, I'm offended by the fact that Oni said he was Jamaican without saying that, using the word tether after it. You gotta say I'm a Jamaican tether. But needless to say, I think that Karen was trying to pull a Karen bullshit, and this is the younger generation of folks. And I respect the fact that when you stand up for yourself and make yourself heard. If she felt offended, she didn't pay thousands of dollars into this university, So if she feels she should be respected after paying all that goddamn money. So at the end of the day, it's her who had to walk through the fire and getting the diploma. She feel like it's worth something, and she feel like she shouldn't be disrespected. And she felt like her name should have been called, and she stood up for herself. I have no problem with that. I only hope and wish that the young sister is just as demanding when she have to go into the workforce in terms of her career and what she wants to pursue in her life. I hope she's just as demanding in trying to fight and get what she needs to achieve in her personal life. But sometimes you get to check Karen's, man. Sometimes you get to check the Karens. And we are a little bit older. We are of a different generation. And I'm not gonna bash your sister for standing up for herself and making it known. This is me. This is where I am, and this is what I'm about. You know what I mean? You ain't gonna back me off. So that's how I feel about this scenario, man. I'm with the sister. It don't look pretty to us because we from another generation, but I'm with the sister. I'm with her.
Anybody else want to add any last thoughts on this prompt?
Yeah, I'm just not gonna grab her. Oh, okay. I was just saying I'm not gonna grab a mic from somebody because they didn't let me speak. It's like I don't care that much. I mean, if it's the entitlement. I don't think we should feel so entitled. And I get, hey, you know what? Like, I don't get why the lady didn't let her finish her name. Or if the lady, I don't know if the lady really was like, oh, I don't want these black people to speak their name, because it just seems like a weird accusation, a weird thing to do. But regardless, it's like, I wouldn't just grab a mic in the middle of a field.
And that's
kind of crazy.
Oni, you just was about to go toe to toe with a gorilla in a hot dog shop. You know what I mean? Because you feel like you was being disrespected, but you ain't gonna put Karen in a place. Come on, Oni, man. Come on.
That's what I'm saying, though. It's like you're not supposed to. That's the thing, though. You're not supposed to be aggressive. You get what I'm saying? Like, you're not supposed to be aggressive. So it's like, and the thing is that you don't even know. And again, it's like in the moment. It's different if she was in the moment. This was a totally different moment. She just walks up to the lady at a different incident and grab the mic and say, I'm going to say my name now. It's like, no, leave it alone. It's done. You could have stood up for yourself in that moment, maybe, if that were the case. Like, hey, I didn't finish my name. That would make a little more sense. But instead, you just like grab the mic later, like let's say 30 minutes later. It's not the right move. Nah, because it's, again, it's who's crazy in the incident. The crazy person in this incident is her. You know what I'm saying? You put Karen in her place in the moment, not 30 minutes later. I'm sorry.
Well, where are we getting the 30 minutes later from?
Oh, this is not the video looks like it's a different incident. Like it's not right after the lady spoke. Well, as far as I can tell, it's not. Yeah, I don't know actually. Maybe I think it's a different incident, but maybe I don't know. It looks. I don't know.
No, it seems like they're on this line. They say their name, and then they hand this mic back, and it looks like this is right then. Well, one of the things I did think about with this too, and some people will say, well, anything to blame the black person, but I do think about the real world. She admits that she had a long name. I think she had like 3 names that she used. The white lady might have just thought after the second name she was done, and took the mic.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. But like, yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, so that's that's what you always have to entertain the possibilities of things too before you just run off of a cliff, right? So that I thought that could have been a possibility, and so it was just a misunderstanding. But my main thing was, I hope it doesn't hurt her in the future. Like Oni said, you're there for school, and school is for to get a job, a good paying job. I just hope that now she, this doesn't follow her.
Oh, it's definitely gonna hurt her. It's definitely gonna hurt her. Like there's no employer who's gonna look at her like basically, you don't want to use the word assault, because Leto's gonna get on my ass, but there's no one is gonna look at you assaulting an old lady and say, yeah, I want you in my job, maybe except for some crazy black women. But like most people are gonna say you just assaulted an old woman. Cause like the way how she kind of like does the shoulder thing, like it's just a little bit too extreme. Like you could, because again, maybe you could say, hey, look, I wasn't finished, or I'm not done, or hey, let me finish, something along those lines. But you can't, like, nobody's going to look at you assault an old lady, right? Let alone an old white lady and be like, okay, yeah, you're hired, and you assaulted her over the fact that you couldn't say your name. It's like, nah. And it's like again, like you said, like, I mean, I hear that she's like, hey, this woman, like everybody else could say their job or say their majors. So I don't know what the lady might have heard or whatever, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, it's like, I wouldn't like, there's some fights that you got to choose, kind of like what you guys said earlier, some fights you got to choose, some fights you got to lose, and it's like, this was just not the win. Like when it comes to, I'm going to put my hands on somebody else, like, it's just not a good look. Whenever you put your hands on somebody else, you're not the innocent party anymore. Technically, very, very, very generally.
All right. I think that's all the commentary, right? With that said, that's the end of the show tonight. We actually got through 6 topics. That's awesome. That's our show tonight. I want to thank everyone who was involved, who was on the panel. Bakari was up here earlier. Of course, Carl, Oni, and Buana was up here tonight. Thanks to Yana B and KW7. Of course, Trigapi 262 Plus. Marcus McGee was out there tonight. I think I said Yana B. Miss Vita was out there. Also, Grandma used to say Erica Howard was out there as well. So thanks to all of you who tuned in tonight. Is there anything you want to shout out this week, Carl?
Nothing really. I'm glad to be on the show with everybody. Hopefully we'll meet again next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you for being here. I'll see you next week. Oni, what you want to shout out this week?
I don't know. I can't really shout out much. All I can say is I'll be there tomorrow. And it was a nice show. It was a good show. We all got amped and all that, so it's all good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for joining us tonight. last but not least, Buana, what do you want to shout out this week?
Shout out to all the brothers on the panel who contributed tonight. They did a very good job. Shout out to the 14-year-old kid who blew that scumbag away. He is a scum freaking bag and he deserved to die. So, shout out to him, and I hope that he is, like Oni said, he's a hero. He is a hero in my eyes. He is a hero because he saved his mother and his own life. So shout out to him, man. Shout out to him. But I'll stop there.
All right, that's the show tonight. Who knows? You might see me during the week. I just did a live interview. What was that? Thursday with the musical group MCE. Bobby Wright, who's usually in the chat. Bobby Wright apparently was familiar with their work, so that's kind of cool. Shout out to Bobby Wright as well. So who knows? You might see me during the week. But definitely we'll be back next week, Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Share the show with your peoples. Have side conversations in the comment section, etc. But until next time, man, I'll see you guys next week. You guys be good. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast with your host, Koku. If you like what you just heard, we hope you pass along our web address, bittermedicineblogs.com, to your friends and colleagues, and share our show to all your social media. Be sure to check out our archive section on our website for previous podcasts. This has been a KWAZ radio production. Join us next time for another session of the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Follow us on Facebook at Bitter Medicine Show, Twitter, Bitter Meds, Tumblr, Bitter Meds, Instagram, Bitter Medicine.